the bedroom. It's killing it at GNC, but you can only get your sample by texting TOWER to 231231. That's TOWER to 231231. Text TOWER to 231231.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
ESPN Radio, and watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
I still can't believe they took a kicker. I'm just joking. I'm so just joking. I am not talking Bengals today. So if you are a Bengals fan, it's going to be a safe space for you today. We're not talking Bengals. We will talk a little NFL draft. We're going to talk about the college football side of things as far as the representation from the Big Ten, the SEC, and others. We'll get to that aspect of it. Talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes and kind of projecting our feelings, or at least talking about how we feel about this team heading into the 2021 season, the spring game now, a thing of the past, the draft. I always look at not the spring game as the official end of Buckeye football, until the fall. I look at the draft as the final talking points of Buckeye football heading into the fall, because the one thing about the NFL draft is it's a constant reminder of all the guys that left. I do think that when you look at Ohio State last year, it felt uncomfortable at times. And we went from not having Big Ten football whatsoever to, okay, now it's a conference only, or went from a conference only season to no season to conference only season, but shortened season, but starting a month and a half later than everybody else. And it was and then Ohio State plays, and then they'll go 2 or 3 weeks off because other teams had COVID, and then they got COVID. It was an absolute mess. And they didn't look great against Indiana. They didn't look great against Northwestern in the Big Ten title game. I mean, it was just one of those things where you never really felt great about what Ohio State was doing last year. Trey Sermon was a great, story, a great talking point as the season went on, but you never felt great about what Ohio State was doing last year, even with all of that talent. And the one thing that this draft this past weekend, Kev, showed me was that Ohio State was not better than we thought. I think we always know Ohio State's great. I think we knew they were great last year. I just think we knew they weren't playing up to their full potential just because of so many outside factors playing a role, and not just game day, but preparation for game day. These kids were being tested on the daily, so much stress of, I've talked to so many athletes who played during this past year that have said that it just sucked. Playing sucked because, and I'm talking about college basketball players I've talked to as well, the getting tested daily. And towards the end, once you got COVID, I mean, honestly, I know this sounds crazy. Some of these athletes getting COVID was a great thing, because then after you got it, you healed up, you came back. You didn't have to, you were that 90-day window or whatever. You didn't get tested for a long period of time. So you were out of that. But if you didn't get COVID, it did suck, because you were getting tested every single day. And every time you stepped in there to take that test, you're like, oh, please don't let me be the reason why we have to go on a shutdown for a few weeks. It was just a mess. But when I think about how I felt about the Buckeyes last season, I'm like, it was just kind of towards the end, as great as it was, they get to the national championship game, they get blown out against Bama afterwards. I'm like, I'm glad the season's done. I'm just glad. It never really felt like Buckeye football. And that's in a season that they got to the damn national championship game. I mean, it was a great year. And I still feel like last year was just one of those, okay, I'm just glad put it in the past. But then you look at all of the guys that got drafted, all the guys that signed undrafted free agent contracts over the weekend. It's like, holy smokes, man. We just not forget, but I think we always have to kind of remind ourselves that there's only 2 programs in the country that do what Ohio State just did, and they're part of the 2, and that's Ohio State and Alabama. Alabama has more national championships to show for it, but that's not the point. The point is that what the message over the weekend is that if you want to get to the NFL, if you want a chance to get to the NFL, there's only 2 schools that are really, you have to feel like are guaranteed locks to get you there: Alabama and Ohio State. If you want to win national championships, you go to Alabama. If you want to play in fun environments and get drafted, go to Ohio State. But the bottom line is you look at Justin Fields going in the first round, the only Buckeye taken in the first round, Kev. Pete Warner, can you imagine? Can you believe he was the second Buckeye taken? Would he have been that was the second Buckeye?
I thought it would be him or the other linebacker, not Tough Borland.
Browning.
Browning, yes.
Yeah.
I thought it would be either one of those two guys to be the second Buckeye off the board. And, you talk about that, and we realized that it was only one Ohio State player taken in the first round. And then you look at Northwestern, where they had 2 taken in the first round. So it's just like, whoa, Northwestern has more first-round picks than the Buckeyes. It's a very weird thing to look at on the draft board. Obviously Rashawn Slater and then the cornerback Newsome got drafted, and we only quote unquote had Justin Fields go in the first round. So that was very weird to look at. And then you look at Minnesota, they had the same number as first round picks as Ohio State, with Rashad Bateman going to Baltimore. So it did feel weird, but as we all know, and something that we try to present to the listening audience is, yes, we know there's more than one round to the NFL draft, but there's more guys that come from like the rounds 2 to 3 that are like actual stars and playmakers. So just because your guy didn't go in the first round, or just because the school didn't produce a whole bunch of first round picks, if you produce guys that went in the second and third round, those teams are not even taking a flyer on you. I say guys that are drafted like in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round, they're taking a flyer on you. If a team drafts you in the second and third round, they're expecting you to make the team and make an impact on the team, to be a part of that 53-man roster, be it a role player, be it a guy on special teams, be it a backup. They're expecting you to be a part of that role. Yeah, you're going to be on that team, and they're expecting that. And it's not cheap bucks either. They're paying you good money to be a part of that team. So, Ohio State having, what was it, 9 or 10 guys drafted?
10 guys.
10 guys drafted. That's great. That's great for the program. It's always a recruiting tool whenever you can hear the Ohio State University said on draft weekend, and then you get on Monday Night Football, Justin Fields, the Ohio State University, Ted Ginn, the Ohio State University, Chase Young, the Ohio State University. Like, those are recruiting tools. If you have that university in young kids' faces that are playing high school football and potential recruits, it's always top of mind. If you're the elite of the elite, man, you're always thinking about Ohio State. You're always thinking about Alabama. And that's up to the coaches to close the deal to get those elite recruits to come to Columbus.
Yeah, you talk about those first 3 rounds. I'm actually glad you said that, because I was going to ask you about, we said there's more than one round in the draft and all that. But there has to be a cutoff point into the draft.
Yes.
That it's the taking a flyer portion of the draft. And so you say, and I agree with you, rounds 1, 2, and 3 are that's where you're drafting your top guys, your guys that are going to, that you're counting on to make an immediate impact. And then your gambling rounds are, you've won money and you're going to go buy more lottery tickets with this money. And if you win money with these tickets, then great. If you don't, you weren't out anything because they're late round picks. And again, we say all the time, the 4th round is where, the organizations that do the best scouting and all that stuff, they usually come out, on top. And a lot of the guys that are taken later in the draft play bigger roles for their teams than the guys at the top half. But the reason they play bigger, I always laugh when I hear that. Oh, the guys in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds, that's the meat and potatoes of the draft. That's where you really help your team. It feels that way because you put so much stock in mental time into rounds 1 through 3 of expectations for guys that you expect to produce. The feel-good stories come in rounds 4 through 7, because anyone that you draft in 4 through 7 that actually pans out, they make you look like geniuses. Right. The guys that disappoint you the most are the guys you pick in 1, 2, and 3. Right. The guy, because a lot of times guys in the first round don't pan out. And they're like, well, the first round pick didn't pan out, but man, they've made up for it in the 5th round when they picked blah, blah, blah. But you don't know that that's the case. But I like what you said about that. Now, here are the Buckeyes that went in the top 3 in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Of course, Justin Fields, the only Buckeye taken in the first round. Pete Warner taken in the 2nd round, 60th overall by the Saints. The Saints love their Buckeyes, by the way.
Yes, they do.
Josh Myers was the 3rd Buckeye of the night taken, or the draft taken in the 2nd round, number 62 overall to the Packers. We were texting that night. You were like, man, come on, Josh Myers. There you go. I thought Josh would have been the 2nd one taken off the board just because of the importance of offensive line. I thought we would see that, but obviously, it's just not how it shaked out. But Pete Warner, the 2nd Buckeye taken off the board in the 2nd round. So the next Buckeye was Wyatt Davis, the guard, 86th overall to the Minnesota Vikings. Trey Sermon goes to the Niners. I like that. Of all the Buckeyes that were drafted here, The one I'm most excited about to make an immediate impact in 2021, like Justin Fields will start at some point. The Bears are doing what all the teams do. We're going to start a veteran. We're going to ease them in. And then by week 2, they're losing and everyone's panicking. And it's like, okay, just throw the rookie out there. We see with the Browns. We see it all the time. I really like the 49ers taking Trey Sermon in that 3rd round because you look at that. I don't think you're going to see Trey Lance start early. I do think that it is Garoppolo's team unless all of a sudden health issues are a concern. But if Trey Lance is the guy, they're going to put a heavy, responsibility on the run game. Trey Sermon's going to play a huge role in that, and mainly because that offensive line is so dang good. The Niners invested a ton of money into that offensive line, not just to help whether it's their quarterback, but their run game as well. I really like Trey Sermon going to the Niners. You know what they say: once a Sooner, always a Sooner. Is that not how we do it?
That's exactly how we do it.
Okay, just make sure.
I think Trey Sermon is going to be a part of the cog out there in San Francisco because they already got Raheem Morris. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's already their starting running back, and then they let Telvin Coleman go to the Jets. So they were like their 1-2 punch. So I expect him to be the 1-2 punch with him. But I'm expecting Josh Myers to make an immediate impact for the Green Bay Packers. I expect him to start off the rip. Corey Linsley, he left via free agency, another former Buckeye. So you plug another Buckeye in at the offensive line. The question for him is who he's going to be snapping the ball to. You know what I mean? Is it going to be Jordan Love or is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? We don't know, but we do know he's going to be on that offensive line. So I expect him to be a starter from day one.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, that's a good point, too, just because, again, offensive linemen are boring. So we talk about who makes the most impact. Right away, my mind goes to the skill position players. That's why I said Trey Sermon at first. But Baron Browning, another linebacker, goes in the 3rd round.
I wanted him. I wanted him, too. I want them all.
So let's talk about the guys that for the Buckeyes that were drafted in the 4th round and later. Because, again, we talked about it. This is the flyer stage of the draft where you're taking a flyer on these guys. It's like you see a role for them. You could see, you maybe have a plan for how you'd like to develop them. You can kind of vision how they're going to help you if they live up to their potential. Tommy Togiai is a name that I think could have gone higher than 4th. Not just saying that because the Browns got him. But again, if he ends up hitting, like that's only going to complement what the Browns did in free agency. Like that's a big one. If Tommy Togiai doesn't pan out, Kev, the Browns aren't out anything.
Right.
Like that's why I like these later round picks is because you're not out anything if they don't pan out. But man, if they hit, that's just like a cherry on top. So if you look at what the Browns did as far as loading up their pass rush and loading up that defensive line, if Tommy Togiai all of a sudden becomes another option, all of a sudden they start acquiring the depth at that position the way that they've done their secondary, the Browns are going to become even more scary. I don't know what to expect from Tommy Togiai, but I really am excited. But I'm falling into the trap that I said about Jackson Carman yesterday. Are we excited about Jackson Carman because we think he's really good, or are we excited about him because, he's a local kid? Am I excited about Tommy Togiai with the Browns because he's good, or am I only excited about Tommy Togiai because he's a Buckeye? I can't give you an honest answer. I don't know. If they said he's from Alabama, I wouldn't sit here and say, he's definitely going to be great. We don't know.
I think he was the best player on the defense last year for the Buckeyes. It's rare. Defense. It's rare that your best guys on defense are your defensive tackles. And when you don't have one of those guys, one of the starter guys out there for the national championship game, that made a big impact on how Ohio State was able to create pressure on the Alabama offense. Now, do I think him being out there for the championship game, would that have changed the outcome? No, I don't think it would have changed the outcome. Alabama probably still would have won. Maybe they wouldn't have won. Maybe they wouldn't have scored an extra touchdown or something like that, maybe. But if you get a DT that's clogging lanes and getting into the backfield, and then also what the Browns did by signing undrafted free agent Marvin Wilson, like, you can see something happening here. You can see the style of defense that they're trying to play. It's almost kind of like they want their defensive tackles to get after it too, to get after the quarterback as well, because they got guys that can get sacks after the quarterback, not just, guys just stuffing it up there and stuffing the run and cleaning things up so the linebackers can get all the tackles. Like these defensive tackles like a Togiai and Marvin Wilson, those guys attack the quarterback. And then you obviously have Myles Garrett, and then you have, Clowney on the other side. So you got guys up front that get after the quarterback. So I like that if I'm a Browns fan, In the Togiai situation, you're not expecting him to come in and start. You're expecting him to be a part of the rotation. The big guys, they're important, but also big guys get tired. So you need somebody to go in there and get a series or two. And him having young legs, it's going to be expected from him.
Yeah, and the importance of putting pressure on the quarterback, that's just a given. That's just a common sense when it comes to football. Yes, you want your quarterback. You want to protect your quarterback. You want to put pressure on the quarterback, and you want to have guys who can catch from the quarterback. Putting pressure on the quarterback is key, and especially in the AFC. That's why the Ravens are very big on pass rushers. That's why the Steelers are big on pass rushers. That's why the Browns have gone heavy on it. I didn't agree with the priority that the Bengals made the pass rush ahead of the offensive line, but you can't argue that's their philosophy as well. It's not. I saw someone comment yesterday in the chat section about this wasn't done just for the AFC North. It's the AFC as a whole, and I get that, but that's how everyone is right now. You have Patrick Mahomes, and a pass rush was important before, but then when they went up and they basically took their offensive line to that next level, when you get Orlando Brown and you get Joe Thuney and you load up that offensive line, and then they draft some offensive linemen, like the Chiefs went all out on their offensive line to protect Patrick Mahomes. So it's like they're going to have a good pass block for him. So that means you still got to get guys to try to overpower them as much as you can. And keep in mind, Aaron Rodgers, I know he's an NFC quarterback at the moment, but if he gets traded, there's a good chance from the reports that are floating out there that the Denver Broncos out of the AFC could end up with him. Imagine you have Josh Allen with the Bills. All right. So you have Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. Now you have, Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs, and now possibly Aaron Rodgers. I mean, holy smokes. You better have a pass rush, because I think it's going to be tougher than hell just to get to the AFC title game with all those quarterbacks living in that division, much less the damn Super Bowl at that point. So I get it. It's very Togiai could play a huge role for the Browns this year.
We definitely need to talk about this later too. If Aaron Rodgers actually makes that trip to Denver and is traded and everything like that, who is Tampa Bay's competition out of the NFC?
Tom Brady's the LeBron of the NFL. When LeBron goes to the East, everyone goes West. When he goes to the West, everyone goes East. Tom Brady in the AFC, everyone was in the NFC. Now everyone's like, get me the hell out of here. You have Russell Wilson, who's wanting out. And by the way, I don't think he wants. He just wants out. I don't even know if he wants out. I do think he wants a better situation in Seattle. But no, in all seriousness, you're right. There's no one that comes close in the NFC as far as that goes to Tampa. I mean, the Saints took a step back. I don't care if Drew Brees has been down the last few years. You don't replace Drew Brees. You don't lose a Drew Brees and then just continue on as if nothing happened. Like, I'm hoping that guys that can step up, like, the former Bucs quarterback or whatever, Jameis Winston, could step up. But we're talking about a guy that threw 30 interceptions last time. Let's say he improves it by 10. That's still 20 interceptions. I mean, can he go from a guy throwing 30 to 10? That's a huge ask right there. Sure, you could put him in better positions to not turn it over as much, but do you really expect a guy going from 30 interceptions to 10, Kev? I don't know. I don't know if that's a realistic expectation.
Yeah, that's scary. I just think about it off the top of my head. Is it the Rams? I mean, the Rams defense is lights out. Stafford's the quarterback now.
I just think there's too many one-sided teams. They are the second best overall team, probably, when you look at offense and defense. I just don't think anyone's sold on the Rams. You technically should be. The Bears, let's say Justin Fields pans out. That defense, if Justin Fields has this magnificent rookie season, there's a good chance the Bears, who still don't match up with the Bucs, they could be a team that's interesting as far as that goes. But you look at Washington, that defense, that's as good as Tampa's. That's as good as anyone in the AFC's. Like, that is a Super Bowl winning defense right there. They just need a little bit more offense, but they're close. The Cowboys, that offense is probably better than the Bucs, but that defense cannot match up with the Bucs. So there's just too many one-sided teams in the NFC that are just always seem to be missing one side of the ball, to where you look at Tampa, they're perfect on offense, perfect on defense. You look at the Chiefs, perfect on offense, very, very good on defense. The Browns, now very, very good on defense, potentially very, very good on offense. You hope that Baker takes that next step. You look at the Ravens. Can Lamar? They loaded him up, by the way. They gave him receivers. They went receiver after receiver after receiver. So it's going to be a very interesting race to that finish line. But the AFC is going to be loaded if Aaron Rodgers does end up in Denver.
Let's play that game when we come back. Let's name the teams out of the NFC and AFC that we think can make it to the Super Bowl.
Sounds like a plan. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a high around 70. Tonight's going to be cloudy, also with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a low near 46. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. Find out why 98% of their customers would recommend them to friends and family. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
Hello, I'm a unicorn. Yes, one of those. Everyone's tried to find me, but most can't, unless there's ZipRecruiter. If you've hired before, you understand it's quite hard to find a unicorn. You know, someone who's perfect for your role. So how does ZipRecruiter do it so quickly? ZipRecruiter's technology matches your job up with the right people for your role and invites them to apply, so you get brilliant candidates fast.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/hire.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Here's the dirt on dust. It may seem fine, but it's actually made of dead skin cells and dust mite droppings. That's where Swiffer Heavy Duty Dusters come in, with thousands of specially coated fibers to trap and lock dust in one swipe. Dust can't hide on ceiling fans and bookshelves anymore. When you're done, just remove the disposable cloth and voila! That dust is gone for good. Now that you know the dirt, say goodbye to the dust. Swiffer Heavy Duty Dusters. Stop cleaning. Start Swiffering.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
You good? Anything you want to talk about? Here if you need me. Just want to check in. Appreciate you. Everyone feels less than okay sometimes. They may not want your advice, but they may welcome your ear. Be present is a simple but powerful way to be there for others, especially now when many are separated. Help teens and young adults find their power, conquer the difficult times, and get to a better tomorrow. Be present, Ohio.
Sponsored by the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation and aired in cooperation with the OAB and this station.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-990-6271 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-990-6271 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-990-6271 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on the little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-990-6271 now. That's 800-990-6271.
At CVS, you could earn up to $50 in extra bucks each year just for filling prescriptions. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. See cvs.com/RX rewards or pharmacy for details.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Oh, okay. Welcome. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Miscommunication there during the break. My bad. Welcome back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. We opened up the show, of course, talking about something we don't talk enough of, the Bengals offensive line. No, I'm just giving you guys a hard time. We spent a lot of time on that yesterday. Bengals fans, you are all really good sportsmen. I tell you, I know I go ham on the Bengals, but I feel like we all have a good time. Some Bengals fans don't really like it, but I appreciate the ones that kind of stick around and handle the abuse, but also give it right back. And that's what sports talk is. If you got a dish, you got to take it, you got a dish, you got to have some fun with it. But we're moving on from that. I think right now it's just sit back and we spend the next couple months continuing to argue our points. You get to the season and then the real trash talking begins, because then you get to back it up. But we got into this conversation because of the Ohio State Buckeyes kind of breaking down. They had 10 players drafted, and then you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 15 total players were either drafted or signed with the team over the weekend, from your unsigned free agents all the way to the 10 Buckeyes that were selected in rounds 1 through 7. Justin Fields, Pete Warner, Josh Myers, Wyatt Davis, Trey Sermon, Tommy Togiai, Baron Browning, Luke Farrell, Jonathan Cooper, Sean Wade, the 10 Buckeyes that were drafted. The unsigned free agents for Ohio State, Tuff Borland, Drew Chrisman, Blake, I always mispronounce his name, but Heibel. Yeah, and then you have Jake Hossman and Justin Hilliard to the Niners. That could be an interesting one right there. The linebacker. I
always thought that Justin Hilliard should have been playing at that middle backer spot instead of Tuff Borland after Tuff Borland tore up his knee after his freshman year, man. He just never was the same after that injury.
And see, what could be interesting is when you have a team like the Niners who's already stacked at pretty much every position on defense, you can kind of work Hilliard in from time to time if he ends up, he has to make it through camp and make it through, obviously preseason, but you can use him in select packages. You can get him in on certain rotations and see how he does. But we got to think of it with the talk of the importance of the pass rush, not just for the Browns or the Bengals, but anybody. Then in the AFC, especially when you hear the rumors that Aaron Rodgers could potentially be leaving the NFC to head to the AFC, possibly with the Denver Broncos, that's a conference that you look at the AFC across the board. You look at the Bills and their situation with Josh Allen. You look at Patrick Mahomes. Okay, you look, and now possibly Aaron Rodgers. Justin Herbert had a fantastic rookie season, and he has one hell of an offensive line. He has a very good run game. That defense is stacked. They're getting 2 guys returning that were out last year on the defensive side of the ball. The Chargers could be interesting, but they could be the 3rd best team in that division. Right. The Chargers are good enough to probably win maybe 5 of the other 7 divisions that are out there. That's how good the Chargers are going to be, in my opinion, this coming up season. But you asked a good question about the NFC, and it's like, man, the NFC is not really good outside of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about it when we're talking about Aaron Rodgers potentially ending up in Denver and everything like that. Who would be Tampa Bay's competition to make it to the Super Bowl? Obviously, injuries are one thing, but just pretend that Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, and let's pretend that injuries don't happen. So let's count them out. Who could win the Super Bowl from the NFC? Could the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, do you think?
I don't think that the Super Bowl champion is not hiding or out in the public or living in the NFC East this coming up.
Boom. That's a whole division gone that we ain't even thinking about winning the Super Bowl.
Now, I will say the Giants, I think, are the most complete team in that division. But the Cowboys offense is better than the Giants offense. So it's like, so even though the Giants might be the most complete team, I didn't say they're the best team. I said they're the most complete. I think their defense is a little bit more well-balanced. I think their defense and offense balances each other out. There's weapons on both sides of the ball. Dallas,
even with Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox, they basically overhauled that linebacker.
It's all rookies, though. You have to see it first kind of develop out there. Plus, the Cowboys, it's not, they have brought in a defensive-minded coach. That's still just way too many holes to fix all in the draft. I still think they needed another veteran guy in there, but a lot can change between now and when the season gets here in September. Washington's defense is the best in that division, but the offense I'm not really sold on. They have 3 quarterbacks to choose from. I guess Ron Rivera came out today and said that they were entertaining the idea of moving up to get another quarterback, taking one of those big 5, and that Justin Fields was a prime target. We've seen Joe Burrow team up with Jamar Chase. We've seen Tua team up with a former teammate. We've seen Jalen Hurts with the Eagles get his former teammate with Alabama. So it would not have surprised me at all to see Justin Fields with Terry McLaurin. And those offensive weapons there. But no, Super Bowl champion does not live in the NFC East right now.
Boom. Whole division.
4 teams knocked out.
NFC North, you got the Bears, Lions, Packers, and Vikings. And remember, in this scenario, we believe that Aaron Rodgers ends up with the Denver Broncos. So Green Bay going with a second-year quarterback in Jordan Love.
For one, the Super Bowl champion does not live in this division either. And I'll go out a step further. Let's say Aaron Rodgers does not get traded and is still with the Packers. I think the Packers are top 3 in the NFC with Aaron Rodgers. But even with Aaron Rodgers, we saw they couldn't beat Tampa last year when Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions. Tom Brady looked like he should have been retired last year in that game. Tom Brady was garbage, and they couldn't capitalize on it as a whole. You had the coaching blunder, the play call blunder late, which everyone's going to put on Coach LaFleur. But Aaron Rodgers also had 3 plays before that 4th down. Before Matt LaFleur even had to make that decision, there were 3 plays that 2 of them had open receivers or an open lane to run and get the touchdown if you're Aaron Rodgers. So it's always easy to blame the coach. There's just too many mental breakdowns with the Packers, and it always seems to happen every year. So regardless, Aaron Rodgers with the Broncos, Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, the NFC North does not have the Super Bowl champion living there.
Whew. So I agree. I mean, as much as we love Justin Fields going to the Bears, he's a rookie quarterback with a lame duck coach, because let's not forget Nagy contract expires after this year. That's why I'm very worried about Justin Fields being with the Chicago Bears and that whole situation. And then you can look at Minnesota. Yeah, the running game is there. You got a ton of weapons with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, but do you trust Cousins? And do you trust that defense to get fixed? So there's a lot of things with Minnesota that I wouldn't be willing to buy in on. And, Detroit is Detroit. Shouts out to Pam.
Pam.
So then we go to the NFC South. Falcons, Panthers, Saints, defending champion Buccaneers. The Saints, they're retooling everything. They're over the cap. They got Jameis as a project they're trying to fix. He potentially is going to be the starting quarterback. Carolina, they got Darnold. They might be sneaky good, but then you got Atlanta Falcons, and they always got a ton of weapons. And, I may not be the biggest Matty Ice guy in the world, but they do have a lot of weapons, and they added to that weapons. They're almost kind of like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
They're basically a mirror image of the Dallas Cowboys. As I think about it, as I'm starting to run down all the weapons, because, they got the quarterback, they got the receivers, they got the tight end, but they just don't have defense, and you got to have some type of defense. So I do see a Super Bowl champion in there, and it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's it. I actually really like this division. I think this division is the best division in the NFC, not just because the Buccaneers are there, but the Saints, they're a 9 to 10 win team if Jameis isn't a turnover machine. Okay, but their offense, you still have Alvin Kamara, right? You still have Michael Thomas. You still have really good tight ends. You still have good weapons. And then defense, they went defense heavy in the draft as well. I think New Orleans, second best team in that division. Falcons and Panthers. Panthers, their next step is going to be dependent on whether, is Sam Darnold. Was Sam Darnold just that bad, or was it coaching? I'm not saying that, one summer with the guy is all of a sudden going to turn him into an all-pro quarterback, but I'm curious what Carolina does with that. But they also have McCaffrey, which I'm curious how long they're going to stick with that guy, only because I don't care about whether they signed him or not, gave him the extension last year. We see guys get cut or traded all the time. The Falcons are going to trade Julio Jones from everything that we've been hearing here in the coming weeks. So you have Calvin Ridley, of Kyle Pitts, Julio Jones, and Matt Ryan. Good run game, good tight ends. I still think Julio Jones is going to be out because of the cap situation. So that's Tampa's division to win, and the NFC is Tampa's to win, because I don't see the Super Bowl champion in that division outside of Tampa. So, no, there you go.
So now we got the NFC West. The Cardinals, they totally retooled things with their offense. They grabbed A.J. Green. They also grabbed a couple more receivers in the draft. Their defense was solid last year with Budda Baker at the safety spot. Then you got the Rams. The Rams went out and dumped Jared Goff, who led them to a Super Bowl. But now they got Matthew Stafford, the former Lions quarterback, who everybody loves up and down. Now he has a chance to play with a team that's actually going for it and a ton of weapons. You got the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy G, who led his team to a Super Bowl. I may not be a Jimmy G guy, but he did lead his team to a Super Bowl, back with that monster running game and that monster defense. And then obviously Russell out there in Seattle with a high power offense whose defense has taken a step back. I could see the Niners, Seahawks, and as crazy as it sounds, I can see the Rams winning the Super Bowl. So I could say 3 of those 4 teams could win the Super Bowl.
I think 3, the NFC's down. I think 3 playoff teams are in that division. The Cardinals are going to be the best, worst team in football. That's not a shot at them. That's just
9-7.
That they're going to be in last place, but they could be above 500. You know what I mean? Like they could be 9-7 or 17
What was their
games.
record last year? I think they were 9-7 last year.
They were good offensively last year, but they were horrible defensively, which is why they went out and got the pass rushers that they did. They spent a lot of money to get J.J. Watt in there, but they did give they got Kyler Murray a lot of weapons offensively as well. So I like what the Cardinals did, but as good and improved as they are, Kev,
they were 8-8 last year.
Actually, you know what? The Cardinals, I could see finish. I think the Cardinals are a better overall team than the Seahawks. I think the offense for the Seahawks is better than the Cardinals, but the Cardinals defense, along with a really good Cardinals offense, makes them to me better than the Seahawks. San Francisco, if Garoppolo stays healthy, which that's the big if. So I'm just going to go with what's most likely to happen. The Rams win that division. Okay. The Rams win that division easily. The Niners, are they going to be the second best team in that division, or are they going to be 1A, 1B to the Rams? I think if Garoppolo stays healthy, they win a lot of games with him. I know it's not the sexiest way to win, but he's got to do a Super Bowl. And the decline, when he's not on that roster, they're picking in the lottery, or the lotteries in the NBA. They're picking in the top 10, top 5 all the time. I know they had to trade up, but the point is the Niners, I think it's 1A, 1B if Garoppolo stays healthy and they pick up where they left off 2 years ago. I think it's going to be between the Cardinals and the Seahawks. I think all 4 teams finish above 500. I think all 4 teams could be positioned. You could have all 4 teams fighting for a playoff spot. So
any of 3 of those could win the Super Bowl.
Just
if one of those
the
teams
Niners
came up there and said they hoisting the Lombardi come February next year, you wouldn't be surprised.
Man, I say the Niners are the only one in that division I look at and say I think they're capable of doing it. I think you're going to see Tampa and the Niners in the NFC title game. But Matthew Stafford, I'm higher on him than you are.
Right.
If he is if he has a select few in his corner, I still think he's really, really good. He put up a lot of good numbers with a really bad team. Is it because they trailed a lot? He's an aired out guy. He's faced some injuries the last couple of years, but he's not known to miss games, as Pam corrected you and I on. I've always felt that the perception is that he's not at the durability. That's not the case. He has started a lot of games. He's played behind bad offensive lines. He's taken the abuse. He's been sacked a lot. He's very similar to Russell Wilson in that regard. But no, there's something about the Seahawks. It's not Russell Wilson that I don't trust completely. It's just the Seahawks organization right now. They're not going all in. They're very hesitant. They have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like they get some decent players, but they're not willing to commit. And I don't understand that. So for me, the Buccaneers, Super Bowl favorites out of the NFC, San Francisco and the Rams are right there as far as that goes. I don't see anybody else. The Bears could be a Justin Fields, like Andy Dalton and the Bears.
The Bears is hoisting the Lombardi.
No. Hold up. My bad. No, you're right. We're talking about Super Bowls. No, those three are it. The Bears are interesting to me as far as an NFC title. They could be a surprise team in the NFC title game because that defense is killer. And the difference between the Bears and Washington, who have two killer defenses, I think Justin Fields could be the steal of that first round as far as those 5 quarterbacks are concerned. Because, as we said, Justin Fields, the best thing that could happen to him is to drop. Justin Fields going to the Jets would have been a nightmare. Niners would have been fine, but like the Jags for Justin Fields would have been a nightmare. Going to any of those teams would have been a nightmare. The Bears actually ended up being the best case scenario for him. Like years from now, it'll be considered that. Right now, he wanted to be drafted higher. He didn't want all the knock on his character and work ethic and all that. But overall, with that defense, and they have some weapons offensively, it's a weak NFC. I could see the Bears being the 4th best team in that division if Justin Fields lives up to the hype, but he may not even be the starter. It may be Andy Dalton, and then all this conversation is pointless as far as the Bears go.
So we're saying Bucks, Rams, Niners.
That's it. Those are the only 3 one of those 3 teams will be in the Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
We can do the AFC when we come back.
We got the AFC next.
Get ready because it's going to be a long list.
Cleveland Browns, baby. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
You ever lie awake at night, can't sleep, not wanting to see what time it is because that's just going to keep you up? Tonight, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night. Unlike other sleep aids, our extended release melatonin helps you fall asleep naturally and then slowly releases so you stay asleep longer through the night. It's non-habit forming with no next day grogginess. ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. Available at retailers near you.
Nissan believes you deserve a car that thrills you. So we have to ask, does your car thrill you? When you hit the pedal, do you get something back? A chill in your spine, goosebumps on your goosebumps. When you take off, do your fingers tighten around the steering wheel? Does your heart beat in your stomach and your breath catch in your chest? Does driving make you feel alive? Because it should. And if your car doesn't thrill you, ours will. This is the new Nissan.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle knows your time is valuable. And with the extension of the tax deadline to May 17th, they've extended their days and hours just for you. If you prefer to upload your files remotely, you can use their Taxes Go app safely and securely. Or call today for an appointment. Remember, veterans, active military, first responders, and frontline workers receive 25% off their tax preparation. Arrowhead Tax Service, 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. Online at arrowheadtaxservice.com.
Happy Mother's Day for the Flower Man. This year for Mom, we have beautiful, cutable arrangements at $9.99 and a dozen roses for only $9.99. Amazing. Thank you, Flower Man, and thank you, Mom. Roses, arrangements, and flowers from all over the world for Mom. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven. It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Landscape now and enjoy all summer with 11% off everything at Menards. There's no limit to what you can create with Menards' huge selection of landscape blocks. From a sturdy retaining wall to a quaint path through your garden, Creststone straight blocks are 99 cents after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through May 8th. Savings are mail and rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Indeed believes less is more. That's why they have powerful tools to help you source, screen, and hire quality people faster. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash hanging out with you here on a rainy Tuesday, and I hope everyone's having a great day. We got Reds Bay to start a 2-game series with the White Sox. Reds-White Sox tonight, 6:40 the first pitch, 6:10 the pregame. We'll hand that off to Tommy Thrawn, the Cowboy, immediately following the show. But the Reds have taken 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. They've taken 2 or 3 from the Cubs, and now they would like to keep that going. You don't want to split with the White Sox. You're at home. You got to take 2 and take that momentum into the weekend. You got Cleveland coming up again. Cleveland's still pitching really well. But, man, the Reds, you start to look at that division. They're 3 games back. And again, I don't really care about standings per se, but I do, you know what I do care about, Kev? Games back. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care about who's in first, who's in last. You could be in last place and out by a game and a half. I don't care if you're in last place because there's so much baseball left to be played. But 3 games doesn't sound like a whole hell of a lot. You can make up games pretty quickly,
right?
But 3 games is a lot when you are so inconsistent like the Reds, and the Brewers have been so damn consistent through the first month and couple days of the season. So that's where I'm constantly, I don't care about records. I don't care about that. I don't care, even if the Reds were above 500, let's say that they were 16-15 and still down 3 games in the division, I would be concerned. I don't like that gap. 3 is about where I like it to be within striking distance, 5 at the max. But anything over 5 is where I start to get a little panicky, because one bad series that can go from 5 to 7 to 8 games. 3, you can have a bad series and it jumped to 5 games back, but you could still jump back from 5. So it's just one of those where you got to manage the Reds' inconsistencies. That's why this series with the White Sox is so important. But we'll talk more Reds baseball coming up later on. So we had taken a look at the NFC and started looking, with the draft now officially in the books, free agency in the books, although there's still free agents being signed. The Browns added a pass rusher today. They did not go out and re-sign, and I just lost the name again, Sheldon Richardson again. I do that every day. I always have it in my notes, and instead of looking down at it, I think I have it and always forget it. But anyways, so we looked at the NFC. There are only 3 teams in the NFC right now that are Super Bowl contenders. There are a lot of playoff contenders.
Right.
There are a lot of good teams in the NFC. There are very few great teams. The AFC has a lot of good teams, but they have a ton of great teams. Or do they? That's what we're about to figure out coming up here in a moment. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champs, all 22 starters returning from a year ago.
Insane.
They are the favorites to win this. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Rams and the Niners. Niners, of course, health always a concern for them. Those are the top three. My wild card team, if you will, not to win the Super Bowl, but to be the fourth best team in the NFC. I have the Chicago Bears, depending on the development of Justin Fields, just because you give a rookie quarterback who has the skills of Justin Fields with the offensive weapons they have, with that defense, the sky's the limit. Again, this is starting because of our conversation about Aaron Rodgers, assuming that he is traded to Denver. I will say, though, the Packers are not a favorite to win the Super Bowl, even with Aaron Rodgers. I just think that there's always something missing.
There's a lot of friction going on. Not only
they remind me of Houston Rockets in basketball when they had James Harden and when they had Chris Paul and when they had, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it reminded me of. Man, you know that roster's talented, but you just know at some point something's going to come up and snatch it from them. Like, it happens every time. That's the Green Bay Packers. One Super Bowl in the last 11 years, one Super Bowl in the entire run of Aaron Rodgers. Hasn't even been back to lose one. I'm not sold on Green Bay with or without Aaron Rodgers, bottom line.
Yeah, let me ask you this. The Rams, they have 2 years left on Matthew Stafford's contract. Do they have to win a Super Bowl to justify the trade in these next 2 seasons?
Man. Do they have to win a Super Bowl? I think they need to get to it. The reason I'm going to say no is I feel like because they've just recently been in the Super Bowl, like, this move already is just keeping them in position to get. I mean, yes, you always want to win one. I don't know if there's pressure on the Rams.
Really?
The pressure on the Rams is just to keep winning. And the NFC title game, I always look at that as like the Final Four. I mean, yes, you want to get to the Super Bowls, and eventually you get to enough Final Fours, you're expected to get to the title game and win it. Eventually you get to enough conference title games, you're expected to win it and get to the Super Bowl. But because they've already recently been to one, winning it was obviously the key. But Stafford, you're right, though, with how much they gave up, and the perception is, man, he's a gunslinger compared to what they had in Jared Goff, and that's what Sean McVay wanted. I think you're right. I guess there is a little pressure. I think they got to get it done because of what they gave up.
It was Jared Goff being the scapegoat for why they didn't win the Super Bowl and why they lost that playoff game last year. But let's not forget, man, he was out there playing with like a broken pinky and a broken thumb. You know what I'm saying? So you making that trade for Stafford, like, they have to. They got to win one. They got to justify everything that they did, because the guy that you gave up on, he took you to one.
If they get to the NFC title game and lose a close one to the defending Super Bowl champs
it's like
it's forgivable.
not his fault.
But do you mean throughout the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, it is.
After, okay, yes.
He's got 2 years on the contract. I don't see them like, all right, man, we're gonna give you this big contract extension, because they ran up a contract extension on everybody else that's on their team. So I say they have, like we talked about before, like a window, and I see that window with Matthew Stafford being these 3 years to get a Super Bowl to justify them moving on from Jared Goff. So I know, like, we live in Ohio, so we're not thinking about the Los Angeles Rams a lot, but I look at that move that they made and say, Sean McVay basically said, hey, man, it's his fault that we didn't win. It ain't my fault. So give me that guy and we'll win. So you got a guy that loves to throw the ball deep and is a gunslinger and everything like that. And that power running game with Cam Akers and that great defense, they're the number 2 team. It's them and the Buccaneers in my eyes.
All right, so now we talked about the NFC. Let's talk about the AFC, Kev, and that's where we're at with that. We didn't have music in the last part of the NFC talk. Let's give us some music to kind of
the real conference,
the Western Conference, if you will, of the NFL, right there. So when you look at the NFC again, one more time to recap: the NFC are Super Bowl contenders in the NFC, following the draft, following free agency. Yes, asterisk there. There's still a lot of free agents out there. Rosters will continue to be filled out. But Tampa, obviously the favorite. If you had to rank them, you're putting the Rams second.
Yes.
In the Niners. I think that the Niners, Rams, you can interchange them one way or another. I think they're fine. Seattle's just on the outside looking in, but it's one of those you wouldn't be surprised just because of how good Russell Wilson is as far as that's concerned. Every other division has teams that are super strong on one side of the ball, but not great as a team. The Cowboys, great offense, still question mark at defense. The Giants, good offense, good defense, still just not enough. I mean, Daniel Jones, the development of him is going to be key. Eagles, Bills, they're a mess. Washington, arguably one of the best defenses in football. The Bears, I mean, they just get Justin Fields. The Lions are a mess. The Packers don't even know how their marriage with Aaron Rodgers is going to work. The Vikings, I'm not a Cousins guy. Either are you. The NFC South, the Falcons, they have an identity crisis right now. They don't know what they are. They don't know if they're rebuilding or they don't know if they're retooling. Financially, they can't retool, so they have to rebuild. So now they're just running in place. They're going to dump some salary. That's why they're about to trade Julio Jones. The Panthers, they're slow and steady wins the race. They're inching along. Yeah. There's no expectations for them this year as long as they take a step forward and show improvement and maybe show that Sam Darnold actually there's a good quarterback in him somewhere. They'll be fine. The Saints post Drew Brees, yes, they're still going to be good. They have Alvin Kamara. They have Michael Thomas. They have one of the best coaches in football in Coach Payton. But it's just not enough to compete with Tampa, to compete with the Rams, and to compete with the 49ers. So on to the AFC, Kev. I'll let you lead this. Where do you want to start? Let's talk Super Bowl contenders. Yeah. How many Super Bowl contenders? There's 3 in the NFC. Now we're talking AFC.
AFC East. Let's start there. Obviously, it's the Bills divisional win, but you think about the Dolphins, what they gave Tua and that defense that they have and everything they got going on with New England retooling their offense with a ton of free agent pickups. They're going to be running that 2 tight end set. And then, obviously the Jets are rebuilding yet again. So out of those, who do you think can actually hoist the Lombardi and you wouldn't be blown away?
I'm not even sure if Buffalo is the best team in this conference right now.
Really?
The Patriots had 9 players opt out last year, the majority of them on the defense. They're getting 7 of those guys back. And look at all the pieces they added in the draft and in free agency and what they did on offense. Cam Newton is going to be the key. The Patriots are not Super Bowl contenders. Well, you can't rule them out because of Bill Belichick, but the Patriots are really, 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 really good. We're counting them out because they don't have Tom Brady and they took a step back last year. We forget they were the team that was hit the most and hardest by COVID last year. Yes. Even in the season, you get Cam Newton. Cam Newton looks great the first 2 weeks of the season, gets COVID, misses a few weeks, and looks like a shell of himself coming back. Now, is that durability because Cam doesn't have it in him to play a full 16, 17 game season and he had a couple, big games early and then got tired, or was COVID why he got tired? But either way, full off season now with Bill Belichick and running this offense. Year 2 of running this offense. You have actual weapons now. You have very good tight ends. You have some help at wide receiver. You have a good run game, good offensive line. So I just think that, and then you look at that defense, the Patriots, I still think I'm picking the Patriots to win the AFC East as we currently sit here right now. So if I'm saying that the Patriots are the AFC East best, I can't say that the Bills are Super Bowl contenders because they didn't fix their run game. That was like them and the Steelers were very similar, except the Bills were better than the Steelers because I think overall they had more weapons on offense. They had a younger, fresher quarterback who was compared to Big Ben in his youth because of how big he is and his ability to move. They didn't address.
They could only wish he could run like that.
And the Bills are going to win a lot of games in the regular season. They're going to look solid, but when you get to the playoffs and you don't have that run game to rely on, on those cold days or Josh Allen's arm isn't necessarily there, or the pass game's not there, then you got to rely on Josh Allen scrambling to make plays with his legs. I'm sorry. I can't trust that. I'm going with New England out of the AFC East, but I don't see a Super Bowl contender in there. Everyone's high on Buffalo. They were in the AFC title game last year. But no, man, I'm not doing that. I'm not. By the way, his numbers, exact same stat line as Baker Mayfield against the Chiefs last year. So it's not like he's heading. Yeah, he's better than Baker, yes, but it's not like he's head and shoulders better to say that.
You hear that, Bills Mafia?
They hate me. I'm telling you.
Lay off our Facebook page.
Bengals fans, the Bills fans hate me more after what I saw on YouTube the other day.
To your point about New England, they're doing something nobody else in football is doing. Everybody in football is pass happy. Everybody out here is saying, like, basically 3 wide receivers, that's our base offense. We're going to be out here slinging the ball left and right. They're doing something nobody else is doing. They said, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball with our 3 running backs. Not only we're going to run the ball with our 3 running backs, we're going to run it with our athletic quarterback. And guess what? We're going to be throwing to tight ends. Everybody else is throwing to all these cool wide receivers making jump balls and everything like that. We're going to put you guys in conflict with tight ends to make your linebackers cover, make your safeties cover, because corners obviously can't guard tight ends. So they're doing something nobody else in football is doing. I don't know if that's going to work, but you know what? When everybody's doing one thing, you do the other because because everybody's defense is basically built the same. I mean, we talked about it with the Browns, basically running a 4-2-5. Well, you got a bunch of small DBs. You really want to tackle this running back for the 40th time today?
The tight ends, the big tight ends.
So, like, they're doing something everybody else isn't doing. I like the approach. I just don't know if it's going to work. I'm still going to roll with Buffalo as the AFC East winner and them being the Super Bowl contender.
I think that, the Patriots had one down year, but they still have that aura of the Patriots because Bill Belichick's still there. And I think that Buffalo, New England was bad last year. There's no way around it. And it wasn't because Tom Brady wasn't there. You put Tom Brady on that roster last year, maybe they win 1 or 2 more games. That was just a bad Patriots roster. It had nothing. I'm getting so tired of hearing, oh, look, Tom Brady leaves, and look, they collapse. No, I mean, yes, but not because Tom Brady left. It's not like you kept the roster the exact same, subtracted Tom Brady, and they crumbled. But anyways, that's besides the point. Also, keep in mind, you could either try, you talked about how that's a different approach. You could try to outduel Patrick Mahomes. You could try to outduel, Buffalo's quarterback and Josh Allen. You could try to outduel Aaron Rodgers if he ends up there in Denver. Or your defense, load that up, put the pressure on them, and then your offense, taking time off the clock. Taking time off the clock. Those offensive drives of theirs are going to take a lot of time off. It's kind of like in basketball. Hey, we can't stop them, but maybe, that's why in high school basketball with no shot clock, we can't stop that prolific guard over there, but we can limit how many shot attempts he gets. And I think that's going to be the approach for the Patriots. We're not going to stop Patrick Mahomes, but we're going to limit how many drives he gets in a game. We're not going to let him, get his 8 or 9 drives a game. We're going to try to cut that to 6 or 7. So there's that.
They're going with the ground and pound approach. Let's jump over the AFC North. We'll save them for last. AFC South, you got your Texans. Everything that's going on there with Deshaun Watson is a nightmare. You got the Colts, who had a real good defense last year and actually had a real good season last year. I know I ragged a lot on Phillip Rivers, but you know what? He had a good season. He led his team to the playoffs, and now they got Carson Wentz there, retooled back with his offensive coordinator that he had in Philly and Reich and everything like that. Obviously, Jacksonville is not a contender in this situation. They had the first pick in the draft for a reason. They are in a full rebuild situation. And then we have the Titans, who took a step back from the previous season, still made the playoffs this past season, but we look at them as, I don't know, maybe Schroeder can keep us updated on things that's going on with Tennessee, but I don't see them having enough capital to make any big moves in free agency. I don't see any big signings that they made, or like draft wise, like, oh man, that's going to be an impact player for them. So I kind of see Tennessee as still a good team, but just not a contender for a Super Bowl. The only contender I see in the AFC South is the Colts with that defense. And if Carson Wentz can get his head out of his butt and play some football again, I think that they could make a run for the Super Bowl.
The one thing we're learning right now is that, we try to build up the AFC as it's head and shoulders better than the NFC. But as I'm looking at it, it's kind of not. There's only probably 3 Super Bowl contenders in the AFC as well. I don't think there's a Super Bowl contender in the AFC because I think that the glaring hole of no run game for the Bills is that's a glaring concern. That's not a little concern either. And I don't want to hear, well, Josh Allen can run. There's a reason that doesn't work for Baltimore. There's a reason that Baltimore wins a ton of regular season games, but when you have to rely on your quarterback to make those big running plays in playoff win or go home situations, it usually eats Baltimore alive. If it doesn't work for Baltimore, who has a better running quarterback, I don't think it's going to work for Buffalo. Super Bowl contender in the AFC East, real quick to wrap that division up.
I say yes.
You
Buffalo.
said Buffalo. Okay.
Yes,
I say there, if there is, it's New England, because I think they're going to be a better, well-rounded team, although Buffalo's passing attack will be head and shoulders better than the Patriots, if that makes sense. But I'm going to say no Super Bowl contender. I do not think the Super Bowl champion will come from the AFC East. Buffalo is very close, though. They are a run game away. I think they, I still think they need to fix, the defense needs 1 or 2 more pieces, because you're talking about going up against Patrick Mahomes, maybe Aaron Rodgers. So in the AFC South, the Texans, heck no, not even close. Tennessee last year, they didn't. My problem with Tennessee is 2 years ago they get to the AFC Championship game, and they I don't like when teams get that close and they don't say, oh man, we're so close, let's add.
Right.
They subtracted. They got beat up on the offensive line. Conklin goes to the Browns. They're not as strong up front. Okay, they gave a lot of money to Derrick Henry. They had to lose some key defensive pieces. I do like the pick, the Farley kid from Virginia Tech that they signed up, but again, I was excited excited about it until I saw him propped up in a back brace, and I'm like, oh, what the hell's going on there? That's one reason he dropped, because Farley was right up there with some of the other top cornerbacks, but he did drop. That if he ends up staying healthy, that could be a steal, but there's still a lot of defensive issues when it does come to the Titans. They tried to pay a lot of money last year to get Jadeveon Clowney. He didn't do anything for them at all. So I still think that they're right back where they started. Good offense, very, very good run game, a very decent quarterback. They have some weapons on offense, but not enough on defense. So they're out. The Jags know. The Texans know. The Colts, it's all going to come down to Carson Wentz. But I just don't see
Jonathan Taylor.
And I like that too, by the way. But Carson Wentz, I just don't think the reason he struggled, there are flaws within his game. I don't think he is as bad as what he was last year, but I also don't think that he was as good as what he was that year. Big picture, there's more bad years than good when it comes to Carson Wentz, which is why I'm leaning towards believing that there is a good quarterback in there somewhere, but I don't think we're going to see him return to that MVP conversation form. Keep in mind, Andy Dalton had a near MVP season one time and never returned to that either. And Andy Dalton's had a better consistent career than Carson Wentz. Not saying he's better. He's had a better consistent career, even with that near MVP season, I believe in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, when that was. No, there's not a Super Bowl contender in this either, but if there's a close one, it is the Colts, but that's the only one I can look at and say, yeah, they're close.
Fair enough.
So no AFC East, no AFC South. You say Buffalo, I
say Buffalo, and I say the Colts.
Okay.
So we going out to the West. So we obviously talking about this situation. If Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, that means he has Jerry Jeudy. That means he has Noah Fant. That means he has Cortland Sutton to throw the ball to. So obviously, if Aaron Rodgers shows up on your team, you are a Super Bowl contender. And if you hoist that Lombardi come next February, I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs, if they hoisted Lombardi, we wouldn't be surprised. So I only see two out of the AFC West. With the Raiders, I don't know what's going on with the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to be the worst team in the AFC West. And I see the Chargers making a big jump. Obviously, not a jump to the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I see them flirting with the playoffs this year.
I like the Chargers.
Really?
I like the Chargers. I'm not putting them in my Super Bowl contenders, and I'm not doing this because I talked to Justin Herbert last year. Bengals fans, you have to admit, Justin Herbert was the real damn deal. And I've even said, if Burrow stays healthy, Herbert and Burrow are going to outduel one another to the finish line. One week, Burrow's going to have the rookie passing record. The next week, Justin Herbert was going to have it. It was going to be an exciting race to the finish line. Obviously, that's not the case as we currently sit here right now. But if you look at the Chargers roster right now, Kev, Justin Herbert, who had that great rookie year, that was not just a great rookie year, that was a great season for any quarterback, regardless of how long you've been in the league. But, you look at their run game. I love their wide receivers. I love their offensive line now with the additions of Rashawn Slater, with the pick from Northwestern, then, of course, adding Corey Linsley, the best center in the NFL right there. I mean, they built that up. So now they have a great run game, very good passing game. Herbert did that last year, Kev, without an offensive line. And then they added weapons. And then I like what they did in the draft as well when they focused on the defensive side along with the offense. I'm a big fan of what the Chargers did, but is it enough? I like the addition of Asante Samuel, the cornerback from Florida State. As you know, they gave him Josh Palmer from Tennessee. They gave him a tight end from Georgia. So I do like Bosa. I do like the Chargers. Yeah, and on the defensive side. But I love the AFC West. If Aaron Rodgers ends up in Denver, you have Justin Herbert in the Chargers, Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. The AFC West, I saw Shaw said earlier, the NFC West is the best conference, the best division, top to bottom. I will agree with that until Aaron Rodgers gets to Denver, and then it's lights out, because when you have Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers in the same division, look out. Denver right now does not have Aaron Rodgers, so they're not a Super Bowl contender. Kansas City, absolutely a Super Bowl contender. The Chargers, I can't put them there yet, but they are so damn close. I'm putting the Chargers and the Colts as just those. I'm putting them in that just on the outside looking in, but I have the Bills too for me. So the Bills, the Chargers, and the Colts I have just on the outside looking in if we're picking one team from each division, but only one Super Bowl contender for me so far, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC right now.
Okay, so let's go to the big dogs. We talking about the AFC North, home of the six-time world champion Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and the Baltimore Ravens, two-time Super Bowl champions. How many you got?
Out of the AFC North?
Yes, sir.
The AFC North, as we currently sit here right now, let's start with Baltimore. Baltimore, Regular season, they're going to tease you. They're going to look great in the regular season. They're going to win a ton of games. Lamar's going to put up a ton of great numbers. Lamar was inconsistent last year. I think that had a lot to do with COVID. Steelers inconsistent last year. Injuries / COVID. Last year was just a strange year.
Yeah.
I know the NFL was the best professional sport in regards to getting the full season. But I do think, there were some teams that probably had a couple hiccups because of COVID and the inconsistencies that the outside factors provided. So Pittsburgh is not as bad as what people think. Pittsburgh, the worst team in the AFC North, easily, no question about it, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Not because I'm a hater, it's because I have common sense. So there's that. Baltimore, because of Lamar, I just can't commit. But he did get a playoff win last year, and they do have receivers. No, I lied. Baltimore's a Super Bowl contender. They gave him receivers. I'm not ready to say that he can't throw. I know he's not the best throwing quarterback in the league, but I do think that when you look at the fact that he's only had one decent receiver throughout his entire time in Baltimore, it's not fair to say he can't throw when he's had no one to throw to. That's not the case now. You got Sammy Watkins. You got a couple nice pieces in the draft. It's good. The pressure is going to be on Lamar, but Baltimore with that defense and the offense that was good before the receivers got there, if Lamar takes his game to that next level because of those receivers now, absolutely. Baltimore's a Super Bowl contender. Pittsburgh's not. I think they have too many flaws, to be fair. But again, Mike Tomlin's a great coach. It wouldn't surprise you if Pittsburgh's standing there at the end because it's Pittsburgh. They get that Patriots treatment a little bit of just getting the respect of being a great organization. And I don't care if I get called a homer in every name in the book. The Cleveland Browns, as of right now, have the second best roster in the AFC behind the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's not even close. Baltimore is close, but again, they have flaws. Cleveland's biggest question mark is their quarterback, and that quarterback was one of the most efficient quarterbacks last year. He did not turn the ball over. All right, he threw for a lot of yards. He threw for a lot of touchdowns. He didn't turn it over. He got his team to the second round of the playoffs, winning at Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. Anyone out there that wants to argue against Cleveland, it's just because you hate Baker Mayfield. But the bottom line is the Kansas City Chiefs have the best roster in the AFC. The Browns have the second best roster. I can't count against that. They're more equipped to win a Super Bowl than the Bills. Josh Allen's better than Baker Mayfield. Fine, I'll give that to you. But is the passing game for Buffalo better than the Browns? No, because the Browns' offense, the Browns' passing game is complemented a million times better by that run game. And overall, offensively, the Browns' overall offense is head and shoulders better than the Bills and everyone else in the AFC besides the Kansas City Chiefs, Kev. I think Cleveland is an absolute Super Bowl contender, especially not because of just the offense, but what they just did defensively. They didn't go out and get a big splash of a name. Jadeveon Clowney's a big name, but the numbers show it's not a big home run signing, and hopefully he lives up to the build. But they got Tech McKinley, they got Jadeveon Clowney. I like the guy that they added today. They added some pieces in the draft. I just think that they're going to be deep at pass rush. They're not going to have, outside of Myles Garrett, that big name, but they're going to have a lot of production from anyone that they throw into that defensive line and pass rush with linebackers. I love the guy they got from Notre Dame. The Browns are in very good shape, and their corners. Their secondary is fantastic. The Browns are set up defensively to go against the Kansas City Chiefs, but I still don't think they're good enough to be better than the Kansas City Chiefs. But right now, no Aaron Rodgers in the AFC. As of now, the Browns are the second best team in the AFC, so they are my Super Bowl contender with Baltimore out of the AFC North.
Cincinnati, no, they're not a Super Bowl contender. I expect them to be a lot better than they were last year. I expect more consistency out of the young quarterback, Joe Burrow. I expect more touchdowns than field goals inside the red zone this upcoming season. I expect the Cincinnati Bengals to win 7 games this upcoming season. Since you went homer with the Browns, I'll go homer right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everything that they've done in the offseason with the limited resources, they've done to the best of their ability. And I'm not a Kevin Colbert fan, but he's done a lot of good things. He's picked up a lot of guys on that offensive line. Basically, the whole offensive line is retooled. And everything that you saw about the Pittsburgh Steelers last year was debacle in the running game. They threw the ball so much because they could not run block at all. Being through it so much because they couldn't win any other way without him throwing the ball. So with them retooling the offensive line and getting some more balance to the team, I think they can make a run for the AFC Championship. With all that being said, I do not think they're a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't think if they actually won the Super Bowl and hoisted the Lombardi, obviously I'd be in tears and crying and jumping for joy and everything like that. But I would also be blown away that they won that. So no, I do not think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a Super Bowl caliber team. On to
but you said I'm confused. You said I was being a homer and you were going to be a homer, but you just said your team's not a Super Bowl contender, so I applaud you for that. I'm not being a homer with the Browns, though. I don't believe I am. I really don't believe I am.
I don't think you are either. I keep it real with my team. I love my squad. I love the draft picks, obviously with the running back and everything like that, and the tooling. And you got to think about like the defense situation that Pittsburgh's under. Yeah, they lost 2 starters, but that means they're bringing 9 back, and they're bringing back their entire linebacking core. They're outside of Bud Dupree, and everything about them is focused around the linebackers. And when Bush went down and when Bud Dupree went down, like that defense just started leaking oil because the guys weren't out there. And obviously you can't protect injuries. There's no way to know if injuries are going to happen. So you just got to go with it. That's just how football is. But we can go on to the Cleveland Browns. Everything the Cleveland Browns have done this offseason says we're going for it. I don't know how other way to say it. No, I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan, but I can recognize that this team was good. They played great football last year, and they're going for it this year. And that's all you can ask for if you're a fan of a team, to see a team that made a run in the AFC playoffs and had a good season in the regular season to say, you know what, we're putting all our chips on the table. We got a window where they're going to go for it, not only for our franchise, but for our fans. So absolutely, the Cleveland Browns are a Super Bowl caliber team, and if they hoist the Lombardi, I would be mad because I would have to deal with you for 365 days, and then I would have to also deal with my grandmother for all that, and my uncle for all that, and my dad for all that.
You have a lot of smart people in your family, Kev.
So the list goes on and on about all these Cleveland Browns fans that I would have to deal with, that if they won in the Super Bowl, I would be mad about. But on a serious note, they are definitely a Super Bowl caliber team, and that leads me to the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Baltimore Ravens are definitely a Super Bowl caliber team because of that X factor of Lamar Jackson. And not only the X factor of Lamar Jackson, is J.K. Dobbins making a leap in his second year. And it's also the weapons that he got. We talked about Sammy Watkins. If Sammy Watkins can stay healthy, they got Rashad Bateman, the receiver out of Minnesota.
That's huge.
Obviously, they still got the burner in Hollywood Brown. So, and Mark Andrews at tight end. So they're starting to get guys around him that can catch the ball and everything like that. The biggest thing for Lamar is to continue to stay healthy and, take those bathroom breaks when needed.
And the Ravens just got Villanueva, by the way. They signed him to a 2-year deal.
You know what? That's good for everybody else in the AFC North. As Big Ben's blind side, because Villanueva gave up the most sacks in the AFC North last year. So I ain't worried about that.
Now, they had a down year last year, but overall, I mean, that's, overall, nah.
Yeah, hey, when he was good, I was happy, but he started to slide. So I'm not even mad that he went there. I'm cool with it. But yeah, I still see them as a Super Bowl caliber team because much like, New England, they do something nobody else does. They run the heck out the football. They run the ball, and that's what you kind of need. And they're one of the few teams in the NFL that still spend a lot of money on their defense. So I see Baltimore Ravens as a Super Bowl caliber team.
Brian Hetzel says, I would worry less about Hayfield and more about the Browns' defensive tackle. You're a Bengals fan, and your standards for football are so low, and you have the nerve to question the Browns, Brian. You're interesting, I tell you. Always entertaining and always consistent. So last thing as we wrap this up, the top 3 teams in the NFC to me, Tampa, San Francisco, the Rams. You flip-flopped to that. You have the Rams, number 2 team.
I got Bucks, Rams, Niners.
And the top 3 teams for me in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens, I have as the 3rd best team. And again, if Aaron Rodgers ends up with Denver, I would have to still keep the Browns above Denver just because the Browns are more of a complete team. This isn't about quarterbacks.
And he just showed up.
And he just showed up.
He just showed up. So I wouldn't jump them up that high just because Aaron Rodgers showed up, even though he's a Hall of Famer and MVP like that. But for me, it will go KC 1, and this is so difficult. This is I don't know. I don't know.
Everyone, keep it down. He's about to do it.
I'm not about to do it.
Sound like Jim Nance with Tiger Woods on the whole 18.
I'm gonna go Buffalo number 2. I'm going to go Buffalo number 2, and I'm going to go Baltimore 3. That does mean that I don't think the Browns are contenders, Kenner. I just think that Buffalo and the Ravens got a little more oomph. Just a little more oomph. Just a little.
Where's the up? And again,
little,
I argue, but I'm asking in a calm. Where's the up? I'm just curious. Maybe I am looking at it from a homer perspective, and I don't like that. So I just want to know what am I missing? Because I look at Cleveland's roster, and I'm like, there's not a lot of flaws. To me, Baker is the flaw, and I love Baker Mayfield.
We know
they addressed the linebacker. Their secondary is great. The pass rush of the defensive line is not the best in football, but you have the best pass rusher in football in Myles Garrett outside of Aaron Donald, of course. But where does the up with the Ravens and Bills come that the Browns don't have?
I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna bump Baltimore up to 2, and I'm gonna drop.
Doesn't help me at all.
I'm gonna drop Buffalo to 4, so they're on the outside. So I'll put
3.
I'll put the Browns at 3.
Okay,
I'll put the Browns at 3.
You got Jake Whiting down. Jake Whiting goes, "That's right, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. That's correct."
I'll put the Bills at 3 just because the lack of a running game and everything that they went through last year. But after their top running backs went down, you're expecting those guys to make a return and be back to 100%, but. Injuries are injuries for a reason. We saw that with quarterbacks all the time. We see that in the Major League Baseball. Guys go get Tommy John surgery and they're not themselves the following year. It takes a year after that. And that's one of the things that I'm expecting from Big Ben after that elbow surgery. I'm expecting that zip to be back on the ball. I'm expecting those deep passes to be better and on the money more this upcoming season. So, the year after a surgery is really when these guys start to take off. So I'm not expecting Buffalo's running game to be how it was the first 2 weeks of the season when they were actually a balanced football team. Once they lost their 2 running backs and they were out there basically running me and you out there running back and said, forget it, we're going 5 wide, so that is something that the Buffalo Bills definitely need to worry about.
All right, folks, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We appreciate everyone hanging out, being patient during that. But hey, we wanted to take a deep dive, as Kevin likes to say, into the NFC and the AFC. Oh, absolutely. The AFC, NFC, we went through again. We kind of listed our top 3 teams as well as the top 3 Super Bowl contenders in each. There's more Super Bowl contenders in the AFC than NFC, Kev, but it seems like the perception is the AFC is head and shoulders better, but it's actually it's more even than you think. But man, if the Buccaneers weren't as loaded as they were, the NFC would not have anything close to what the AFC has, I guess. The NFC is lucky to have the Buccaneers being the weight at the bottom there to kind of balance them out a bit, because if not, it's a bunch of really good teams in the NFC, but no clear-cut favorites. The Bucs are obviously the favorite out of the NFC, and the AFC is just very interesting, especially when you look at the story. I mean, Kansas City's there. Browns and Buffalo right there, and then, of course, the Ravens looking to take that next step forward. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. I'll step away for a few moments. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Get mom the perfect gift at Macy's Mother's Day sale with an extra 25% off her favorite designers with your coupon or Macy's card. That's on top of already great deals like 35 to 55% off fine jewelry she'll love, and 20 to 30% off handbags, accessories, and more great gift ideas. Plus, get your gifts even faster with same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. Now at Macy's.com. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
Reds fans, check out the Root the Reds Home exhibit, presented by Dinsmore at the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. This exhibit features over 200 historic pennants and banners from the Reds championship seasons from 1919 all the way up to 1990. Plus, thanks to the Sargent Family Foundation, active military and veterans receive free admission. Visit redsmuseum.org for more information.
Hello.
Darling, where are you?
Why, honey, I'm at my favorite store, Rural King. I'm getting my mom some flowers for Mother's Day.
Oh, good. Pick up my mama something special while you're there as well.
Friends, don't forget Mother's Days are coming up real soon, so get your mom something special from Rural King. Nobody beats their prices.
Get all the moms in your life something special, you hear?
Yes, dear.
Thank you.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. The emergency alert system has been designed to provide the public with timely warnings and emergency information. Had this been an actual emergency, you would have received instructions and information related to that emergency. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a high around 70. Tonight's going to be cloudy, also with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a low near 46. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Sorry to interrupt your jams, murder mystery podcasts, or motivational beach noises, but we got something else you might like to hear. It's called cash. That's the sound of an extra $250 after your first 10 deliveries with Uber Eats. That's right, an extra $250 on top of all the other cash you'll make during those first 10 deliveries. If that sounds good, visit t.uber.com/extra 250. Uber Eats, deliver with us. Limited time offer, terms apply. See t.uber.com/extra 250 for more details.
You ever lie awake at night, can't sleep, not wanting to see what time it is because that's just going to keep you up? Tonight, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night. Unlike other sleep aids, our extended release melatonin helps you fall asleep naturally and then slowly releases so you stay asleep longer through the night. It's non-habit forming with no next day grogginess. ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. Available at retailers near you.
Nissan believes you deserve a car that thrills you. So we have to ask, does your car thrill you? When you hit the pedal, do you get something back? A chill in your spine, goosebumps on your goosebumps. When you take off, do your fingers tighten around the steering wheel? Does your heart beat in your stomach and your breath catch in your chest? Does driving make you feel alive? Because it should. And if your car doesn't thrill you, ours will. This is the new Nissan.
Hey Dayton, this is Dan First, 5th generation at First Florist and Greenhouses. Our garden center is now open for this season and full of beautiful garden plants, vegetables, and more. You'll be amazed at the quality and volume of plants in stock. So stop in and visit us at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton. Call us at 937-223-1213 or visit us online at firstflorist.com. That's FURST florist.com.
Shop First Florist and Greenhouses, celebrating 116 years in business.
Celebrate Jewish culture and community. Don't miss a Taste of Jewish Cultural Festival at Temple Israel on Friday, May 14th. During this special drive-through event, pick up food for the family with everything from traditional baked goods to food truck favorites. Enjoy children's activities, crafts, and the joy and inclusiveness of the Temple Israel family. A Taste of Jewish Cultural Festival, May 14th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Temple Israel on Riverside Drive, the second of 3 special drive-through community events. To learn more, visit tidayton.org.
Have you been seeking a final resting place for your loved one's cremated remains? Are you tired of endlessly searching to find a permanent home for a family member that gives you peace of mind, offers more security than the mantle, and doesn't cost thousands of dollars? This is Mark Davis from Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery, located at 8135 North Dixie Drive. We are pleased to announce a new product that offers families the opportunity to give their loved ones a permanent, serene, final resting place for as little as $300. Call us today at 937-890-1831.
Hi, Pete Kasuji here to tell you it's time to start thinking green. Get out those shovels and rakes and take advantage of every sunny day this month so you don't have to play catch up next month. Get started on that landscape project you've been thinking about all winter. Plant a tree or a hedge, a flowering shrub, or maybe a few evergreens and ornamental grass around the porch or deck. It's also time to sow our famous green mat grass seed for a lush green lawn this summer. Sow that grass seed now and you'll be mowing by the middle of May. We've got everything you need for a great looking yard or patio at our 6-acre garden center at 1309 Brant Pike. Come out and see why they call them greenhouses.
Run with us on a John Deere Z365 RZ Track mower, built for taking it easy. We're talking lemonade on a lazy afternoon easy. That's why we added the Easy Change 30-second oil change system to make the job nice and simple. And with the convenience of standard mulch control, you'll control your clippings without any extra effort. So you can get back to the good stuff, because lawns aren't just for mowing, they're for living. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere Z300 for more.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-206-9977. That's 1-800-206-9977. 1-800-206-9977. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Unlimited audio streaming is yours with Audible Plus. Enjoy thousands of select Audible originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER, and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2, technically deep into Hour 2 of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Talking all things NFL draft here to open up. And don't worry, it really hasn't been any Bengals-centric stuff. I think I beat up on the Bengals a lot yesterday, and I'm kind of bored with that, to be honest with you. The Bengals can get good sometime soon, so I can change up my material. That would be awesome. But until then, you can expect Kinner's greatest hits every day from 3 to 6, featuring his famous offensive line jokes and everything like that. Well, if you can't be offensive, and there you go. So, all right, still lots to get into. I want to talk Ohio State coming up more around the corner. I wanted to get into the Shaun Wade stuff that we'll get into coming up here in just a few moments. LeBron James being a hypocrite when it comes to the play-in tournament. We have that. Chad Johnson's back, baby. Maybe not for football, but he's getting in the ring, and he's back in the spotlight, and we're going to talk about that. Some people don't like these. What's the Mayweather fight that's coming up? That everyone
versus one of the Paul brothers.
Which Paul? Logan Paul? I think it's Logan. We're going to go with Logan. Correct us if we're wrong, but people don't like. There are fans love it. These are slowly. Here's the equivalent to this. These little exhibition boxing matches, Kev, that we're seeing, are becoming more popular than actual boxing right now.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like the Big Three league. What's it called? The Big Three?
Yep.
That would be like Jake Paul. Tommy, thank you. Jake Paul. So let me cross out Logan so I don't make that same mistake again. Mayweather. So that would be like the Big Three getting better ratings and generating more revenue than the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love the Big Three, by the way. It's very sticky. It's very cool. You get to see like Rasheed Wallace and some of those. I don't actually know if I'm assuming he did. I can't remember now who's on coaches. So you get to see a lot of those former players back on the floor. Allen Iverson, that type of thing. Even though that was a mess, but they do. It was right down in Kentucky. A few years ago before COVID shut it down last year. But the bottom line is like that would be like something like that, something you enjoy watching. But imagine if the Big Three overtook the NBA. That's what these exhibition fights are kind of doing. But the Big Three would never take over the NBA because the NBA's product is too good and the Big Three's product is good and they could both coexist.
Right.
I'm hearing a lot of these fights are bad for boxing, and I think it's the opposite. I think it's great for boxing. I love that. I love when Mike Tyson came back. That was like one of my favorite. It was just a damn exhibition fight. It was one of my favorite matches that I can remember watching in a while. And yes, I know it's old Mike Tyson. I don't care. It was Mike Tyson. It's all about the nostalgia. Now Keith Tolliver saying Logan Paul.
Yes,
come on, guys.
It's Logan
Is it Jake
Paul.
or Logan? Tommy, Keith, get your together. Come on now.
It's Logan Paul.
Keith coming in the clutch. Jake, I appreciate you helping there, but no, I guess you and I were both wrong. Logan Paul it is. Keith, thank you for helping with that. So Logan Paul it is. It doesn't matter. YouTube sensation. He's done about as much as Kim Kardashian to become famous, so there's that. So I love these fights. I don't know where you're at with it, but is it bad for boxing? Are these fights, are these exhibition type fights bad for boxing in your opinion?
One, majority just want to be entertained, and the people that are highly entertaining are famous people for whatever reason. Reality shows. I'll rewind the clock. I remember when the original Real World started on MTV. They were in New York, and what reality TV has evolved into from the original Real World. Real World was supposed to be like a real thing, and like they're really taking a look into people's lives. Now, reality TV is scripted TV almost. You know what I'm saying? They like, hey, we're gonna put you in this situation so you can react this certain way, and here's some alcohol and everything like that. Reality TV is that, and that's exactly what sports has become. Sports is just entertainment on steroids, and now you have these personalities, these YouTubers getting into the sports arena, and that's bringing casual fans in. It's people brought in that don't care anything about boxing. The real boxing fans probably hate this to the core because it's hey man, Jamal Cholo, he just fought and he didn't have half as many people watching him, and he's a professional boxer watching his fight for a championship versus this other fight that went down with YouTubers. And, we saw him knock out Nate Robinson and everything like that. Me, I personally, I tune in because it's entertainment, but do I take it serious? No. But if professional boxing was smart, they would start implementing some of these fights into the main cards of their fights as well.
I like that.
Because, hey, man, it's all about viewers. It's all about pay-per-views, right? Hey, if Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Joe Paul, any Paul out there want to get in this boxing ring and bring some more viewers to the TV set, then that's what it's about. Because pay-per-view costs money. Pay-per-view ain't free. You're paying per view. So, hey, if it's bringing in more viewers, so be it. So be it, because that's going to get the sport out there some more. And then, if those people are just there to see one of the Paul brothers fight somebody off the street, so be it. And if they stick around and find out about another boxer that, oh man, he can fight too, maybe that'll bring them in to watch other fights later on. So, I just personally think the YouTubers fighting now and everything like that, I liken it to, remember Kimbo Slice? And, his YouTube clips were going famous, him knocking out people in the backyard. So then Kimbo Slice says, all right, I'm gonna turn professional. He got his ass beat. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Joe Paul, Chris Paul, Johnny Paul. That's what's going to happen when they fight a real fighter, because you're not going to be fighting a basketball player. You're not going to be fighting an MMA guy in a boxing. If Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whichever one, went and fought the MMA guy in the MMA situation, the MMA guy would have killed him. So you're going to get in there with a real fighter one day and he's going to knock you out and have your booty up in the air, just like you had Nate Robinson booty up in the air. That's what's going to happen to one of these dudes soon, because you can train and do all this type of stuff all you want. But guess what? These dudes do this since they was like 7 years old, training to box, training to knock people out. You try to take up boxing as a sport in your mid-20s. Good luck with that.
Well, here's the deal. The Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson golfing with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Numbers.
Huge number. Masters plummeted. No Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady with Phil Mickelson, through the roof.
Yep.
Golf people hate that. Like I've heard a lot of people say that they hated that because, and I'm like, that's a great thing for golf. That is getting the eyes on the product. Yes, it's a little gimmicky, but I'll watch that all day. I'll watch that. That was one of my first golf events I watched on TV and actually sat through the whole thing versus sitting down and watching every hole of the Masters like that. And I did watch every hole of the Masters a couple years ago when Tiger had that historic win that he had, and that was so memorable. But when it comes to boxing, that sport. And again, I don't care how many good boxers there are. There's a lot of good boxers out there. That's fine, but there's no box office guys. I mean, Floyd, you have Tyson Fury, and they're building him up. But I mean, we haven't seen him fight in how long?
It's been
before COVID. It was February of last year. It's well over a year. I mean, that was a hell of a fight. I love that fight. And
last time I was out.
That's the last time I watched a boxing match that felt big time. That felt like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be. I mean, we talked about it on the show, and I had never talked boxing on the show before that because I didn't care. The bottom line is this is not bad for boxing because we're talking boxing, because there's boxing matches every weekend. The actual sport is live and active right now, and no one cares. No one talks about it. So when people say it's bad for the sport, it's bad for the sport because it's reminding people that the sport is bad. That's why it's bad for the sport if that's how you view it. It is not bad for the sport. You can call it an exhibition match all you want. You can call it a non-sanctioned match. You can call it whatever you want. You can get creative like you can put them in a Hell in a Cell like WWE. The bottom line is that stuff's more entertaining than any of the active fighters right now. Now you're going to have your boxing buffs that are like, oh no, I watch boxing every weekend. You are one of a few. Because the numbers aren't there to show that it is one of the most popular sports out there. It used to be. There was big, humongous names that carried the sport of boxing. Those names aren't there anymore. So is it embarrassing that a YouTube sensation, Logan Paul, can be the one half of the main card that's going to be a huge draw? That's a good thing. You have to find any way that your sport's getting attention, more power to you. It is weird watching that he's stepping in the ring with Mayweather. Stephen A. Smith made a good point the other day. What has this dude done to deserve stepping in the ring with Floyd Mayweather? But Floyd Mayweather, I was listening to The Breakfast Club on your station, Hot 102.9, the other day.
Thanks for listening.
And I think it was Floyd Mayweather. It was on The Breakfast Club, and he brought up a good point. He goes, these exhibition matches are going to be the next big thing in boxing because he goes, I'm going to try. I have no itch to come back. There's not a fighter that I'm tempted to get back in the ring with for 7 to 8 to 10, 15 million. But these exhibition matches, you're getting 100 million. Mm-hmm. That's why Mike Tyson is all this. He went from, hiding in bathrooms with tigers on movies to training again, looking like he's about to bite someone's ear off at any moment. Because, hey, let's see, I can train to get back in the ring and make, millions, or I can make hundreds of millions for 1 3-round, or however many rounds is it? 5 rounds or 5-round, 3-minute exhibition fights. These guys are making bank, and the money is there, and you're tuning in and you're watching. People care more about these exhibition fights than they actually do boxing, the real, the active boxers right now. And hey, that's on the sport. That's the sport should be embarrassed. Is it bad for the sport? I'll say yes, because these are a constant reminder of why the sport is bad. I know not a lot of people like wrestling, but for those of you that do like wrestling, I hear this all the time in the wrestling world. People hate when WWE brings back the old timers because those guys like the Stone Colds and the Rocks and the Hulk Hogans, because those guys are constant reminders of, hey, there is no one like those guys now. Right. Wrestling's not like what it was when I was a kid. That's what you constantly hear. So when you tune in to watch a pay-per-view or a WrestleMania or whatever, to watch those old timers, It's you're going to watch them and then you're going to turn it off and move on with your life because those guys will not be on Raw or SmackDown the next week because they're just there for a draw. The draws, those are the draws. The draws are going to be what gets you to watch. That's all that matters. That's why watching Nate Robinson just get knocked out. I mean, you look at Nate Robinson, Chad Johnson's about to be in this undercard of Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. I mean, those are draws. This is going to be fun. It's going to be huge, and this is going to take off. I don't. Hang on, Mikey. You cannot say that boxing, that this is bad for boxing. It's good for boxing because we're talking about boxing, but boxing is horrible right now. And I don't want to hear from people that, well, there's a lot of really good boxers out there. I'm sure there is. But if no one's tuning in to watch, then who cares? I mean, when's the last time that boxing has been the main talk of any sports show out there that has not involved an exhibition fight with Mike Tyson or Nate Robinson getting knocked out? Brady, he just commented on here, and he brings up a good point, and actually really enjoyed watching these. The rough and rowdy barstool fights. That you have random dudes like me and you. Actually, no, these guys are actually way out of shape. These guys have no business being in the ring. I watched the rough and rowdy barstool fights, and I was beyond entertained. They had Jose Canseco step in the ring. Now, he threw it and he looked like an idiot, but he had me hooked. I couldn't wait to get to the Jose Canseco fight at the end. This was 2 rough and rowdy fights ago. But those are the draws. People don't care about the boxers from today. I like Tyson Fury, but again, there's just not enough Tyson Furies out there. And they wrestle once or twice a year. They box once or twice a year. That's all you see them. And then COVID slowed that sport down a bit too. But these exhibition fights are awesome. I'm a big fan of them. And anyone that doesn't like them, it's just you're mad because this is more popular than the sport is right now. If there was something that would be more like baseball old timers, if something came along that was baseball related that was more popular than MLB, the baseball traditionalists would be pissed. If the big 3 in basketball took over basketball, the NBA would be pissed. Golfers, what the hell was that? Our building is rattling right now. Are we about to just I always said this building's going to crumble at any moment. But the Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, those little cool little matches you see there, I love that. You may not see Tiger again, but the point is, that was great for golf. That was so entertaining, and it had a huge number. I love it. I'm telling you, this is good for boxing.
The thing about it is the most popular fights don't happen until years down the line. I can't tell you how many years went between Floyd and Manny Pacquiao supposed to fight before they actually fought. I think that's a flaw in boxing. I understand that every boxer is basically an independent contractor and they want to set it up for them to make the most money as possible. And the way you make the most money as possible is have that at the end of your record. I mean, you can look at 2 of the guys that I really like, Bud Crawford and Shakur Stevenson. They should fight, but they're not going to fight for at least 3 or 4 more years, which is bad for sport. And it just leaves you waiting and then them picking and choosing their fights as opposed to, that's why MMA and UFC is so great, is because Dana White basically forces the fights to happen. It makes the fights happen that people want to see. And boxing, you don't get that. And we got Mikey on the line, and buckle up.
Mikey, how are you?
Hello, guys. How are you guys today?
Good.
This rainy day.
Oh, I know. It's beautiful out.
Oh, yeah. It was gorgeous. I agree with you, Justin. Everything you said.
Wow. Dad, Mikey and Justin.
I was a little I'm thrown off by that, Mikey.
Well, I'm sitting down, so that's... But no, seriously, there's a few good fighters around today. But let me tell you something. Exhibitions are nothing new because even back in the golden days of boxing, champions thrived on boxing exhibitions. They could pick up maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a night. Or at the very least $1,000 a night by boxing exhibitions. It was cheap and easy money, and plus it kept them before the public. It kept boxing before the public, and it kept it alive and interesting. And people were talking about like you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I told you about how I saw Ali box some exhibitions at Welcome Stadium in June of '71.
So those were exhibition matches. You always bring those up. I didn't realize those were exhibition matches.
Oh, they were exhibition matches.
Okay, cool.
But here's the thing: I still saw Ali,
right?
And I still saw Ali box, and so that's something that I can take with me to my grave. And they had some professional fights on that card that night, and some amateur fights too. Leo Richardson put that together. He did a lot for boxing in the 70s here in Dayton. He really did. He brought boxing back to a point in the 70s that it had not seen since the 1930s. And then, of course, he no longer promoted. He stopped promoting. And then, again, boxing became nothing in Dayton. I've got boxing friends in Philadelphia and New York and everything. They all ask me, how's boxing in Dayton? And I say, it's dead. Boxing does not, maybe once in a great while you'd see an amateur card, maybe at the fairgrounds or a hair arena or something like that. But other than that, boxing's dead in Dayton. It just, but Dayton was a hell of a fight town at one time. Boxing, real fights and exhibition matches. And I had a friend who's deceased now. I used to work in a restaurant, and him and his son used to come in there. His son was a little older than me, and this gentleman was a lot older than me. But he saw Dempsey box some exhibitions at Memorial Hall in Dayton in 1925. And I just happened to call the library downtown, and they pulled that up and made copies for me where he boxed some exhibitions in 1925. He also boxed some exhibitions in 1932, too, when he had his barnstorming tour. Mm-hmm. And another thing exhibitions do is it keeps the fighter in shape. Mm-hmm. If he can't get a fight, if it's a lull in between fights, it keeps him in shape because he's still training and he's still boxing.
And so the payoff is there.
Exhibitions do more than just they're more than just show.
Yeah, I mean, the next big, the next big fight that we're going to be talking about from an exhibition standpoint. I mean, right now the details are coming out, of Mike Tyson against Lennox Lewis coming up. Again, some people are going to say, I don't want to watch two washed up guys or whatever, but it's the nostalgia of it. And I think that that's healthy for a sport. And if it gets people talking about the sport, it's a good thing. But I also do see the side when people say it's bad because it's a constant reminder of what boxing is not anymore. And you go back before the Mike Tyson era, of course. But to me, I grew up when when boxing was great because of Mike Tyson. So you've lived through a lot more history of boxing than I have. So if this is good for guys like me, I mean, it's good for the sport. But again, to me, I'm going to tune into a Mike Tyson fight and say, yeah, boxing's not like this anymore. That's for sure.
Well, let me tell you something. We're going to hear more from Mike Tyson because he was on that commercial. Did any of you see that commercial? I can't remember. It was a pop. Was it a pop or a beer or something?
I'm not sure, Mikey. I'm sorry. Let me look it up. I'm not sure. But what about it, though?
Well, anyway, it's keeping his name alive. He's back in the news now, and he's not fading. And so it's keeping him before the public eye. And so
the Seltzer commercials. Yes.
Right.
Now I see what you're talking about.
So anyway, what was it again?
The Bud Light Seltzer commercials,
yes,
I believe.
Yes. I couldn't remember the name of it. And it's a kind of a cute commercial. It really is. It's got a little humor to it. Where a lot of commercials, they insult the intelligence of the watcher.
Mikey, this is perfect. It's not Bud Light Seltzers. They're Mike's Hard Lemonade Seltzer. So it's Mikey's Hard Lemonade Seltzer.
Right.
So there you go.
And so, but no, I think that I love exhibitions. I mean, I would pay to see Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson box an exhibition.
There you go. Hey, Mikey, we're out of time, but I'm glad you called in.
Okay, thanks for taking my call, and keep punching.
It's the only thing you can do. Take care, Mikey. Again, 6-time Pro Bowler, just a reminder, 6-time NFL Pro Bowler Chad Johnson is set to step into the boxing ring on June 6th as part of the undercard for the big match, again, between I literally just spaced and lost what I was even going to say right
Logan
there.
Paul
That's happened
Floyd.
multiple times this week, and it's only Tuesday. What is wrong with me this week? But anyways, I'm curious about this whole Chad Johnson thing, Kev. Like, I don't know. I mean, doesn't say who he's going to step in the ring with.
They don't have an opponent yet.
43 years old.
So yeah, I watched his interview that he had, on his podcast and everything like that. And he broke the news to everybody that he was going to jump in the ring. And Leonard Ellaby, Floyd Mayweather's business partner, dialed him up and said, "Hey man, we got a spot open on this exhibition." And Chad Ochocinco said, "I'm in." And all right, he said, "We're going to find you an opponent." So that's what's going to happen. But another thing about this whole situation is, like, Mikey was bringing up a ton of great points, but all those points he was bringing up, he was talking about the 1930s, the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and the 80s. That's a long time ago. And obviously, Mike Tyson, his heyday was in the 90s. It's 2021. So you have to have a polarizing figure, and that polarizing figure has to be active. Boxers today aren't like super active. The young boxers that are trying to, get a lot of ring skills. They're active.
Good local guys.
Yeah, a ton of great local guys that can get in that ring and everything like that. But when you're that age, you can get into the ring and, fight. Like, it's a lot of guys active, but they don't have that oomph power yet. You know what I mean? So, and another thing is, working with these networks, the networks want their cut. You know, we talk about ESPN Plus and all that type of stuff. They want their cut. With Triller, the app, that's where these fights are going to be taking place. They're taking a smaller cut. You know, the subscription, that's how people are paying for this. You know, you're logging on your phone and streaming it on your TV. So the way we take these fights in are totally different. We're used to, you know, hitting the button on our remote control and getting on pay-per-view. Now you just buy it on your phone and you stream it on your phone. So the demographic of people watching it is changed as well. You know, if I was go to my dad and say, hey, the fight coming on, he'll grab his remote and try to buy it on the TV. And I'm like, no, you have to stream it on your phone. He wouldn't know what the bleep to do. He wouldn't have a clue. So boxing is in a transition, is getting younger, but it's also changing because of the people that are fighting, and popularity is
There's
always
nothing to bridge
trump.
it.
Yeah.
There's not old mixing in with the new. It's almost going all young, and you've got to hope that the batch of young connects with its audience the way that boxing used to connect with its audience decades and decades ago. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
It's like I blinked and suddenly all my business shifted to e-commerce.
Now my business hours are whenever my customers need me.
My customers want everything now and faster than ever. It's a whole different world.
Your business is changing. The United States Postal Service is changing with it. We're bringing you fast, reliable shipping nationwide, and we're bringing it right when your customers need it. Let's discover new routes. Visit USPS.com/new routes. The United States Postal Service. Priority, you.
It's Small Business Month, and Dell Technologies and Windows are celebrating your unstoppable drive. Save up to 45% on powerful PCs with Windows 10 Pro to work from anywhere, plus top monitors and docks for the ultimate business setup, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right business tech, server, storage, and cloud solutions at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for Small Business Month savings.
Mow like a pro with Hustler Turf zero-turn mowers. They engineer their mowers to be maintenance and service friendly for the everyday homeowner, while not sacrificing the build and cut quality they're known for. From the heavy-duty frame to the welded steel deck to their trademark smooth track steering, Hustler Turf zero-turn mowers deliver professional-grade cut quality for a perfectly manicured lawn. Come in to Small Engine Service Pros to see the Hustler difference for yourself today. Small Engine Service Pros, 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Your home for fun food, sports, and spirits is also the home for value. Frickers Everyday Value begins on Monday with boneless frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. Tuesday offers traditional frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. On Wednesday, enjoy a steak dinner for $6.99, and Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks for $6.99. Download the Frickers mobile app to receive loyalty points, free food, and order online. Today and every day, the home for everyday values is the home for fun food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Happy Mother's Day for the Flower Man. This year for Mom, we have beautiful, cutable arrangements at $9.99 and a dozen roses for only $9.99. Amazing. Thank you, Flower Man, and thank you, Mom. Roses, arrangements, and flowers from all over the world for Mom. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Homestead Feed and Supply is proud to introduce a new product line straight from Texas. Stock Show Secret products and Flex Appeal. Make your project look the best. Only available at Homestead Feed and Supply. New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to babbel.com today. That's BABBEL.com.
DQ presents How to Make Mom and the Whole Family Happy This Mother's Day. Step 1. Give Mom a world-famous DQ cake made with vanilla soft serve and a fudge and crunch center. Step 2. Dig in. Slice into that shareable DQ cake and give everyone a piece, starting with Mom, of course. Step 3. Watch as everyone enjoys this Mother's Day favorite, because when Mom is happy, everyone's happy. And nothing makes Mom happier than sharing the happy with her favorite people. And by happy, we mean DQ cake. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, an attorney with Kirkland & Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland & Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
To make sure that the air in your home is absolutely perfect, call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They are offering up to $1,800 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Hey Dayton, this is Dan First, 5th generation at First Florist and Greenhouses. Our garden center is now open for this season and full of beautiful garden plants, vegetables, and more. You'll be amazed at the quality and volume of plants in stock. So stop in and visit us at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton. Call us at 937-223-1213 or visit us online at firstflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, florist.com.
Shop First Florist and Greenhouses, celebrating 116 years in business.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, an attorney with Kirkland & Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland & Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Visit your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer, East Lawn and Garden, today and step up to the Cub Cadet Ultima Series for the ultimate all-around mowing experience. These zero-turn mowers are built on a fully welded 2-inch by 2-inch square tubular steel frame and are designed to maximize strength and rigidity without wasting an ounce. And only your local Cub Cadet dealer can deliver this level of strength, speed, and control, and back it up with genuine parts, accessories, and trained service technicians so you can love to lawn for years to come. East Lawn and Garden, 1632 East Route 36 in Urbana.
Unlimited audio streaming is yours with Audible Plus. Enjoy thousands of select Audible originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, we welcome you back. Hour number 3 of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. We welcome you back. And, little college basketball update for you here. Finding this interesting right now. Jalen Crutcher has just announced, of course, he put on Snapchat a little bit ago that, he had a big announcement to make. And, of course, they had the Dayton floor in the background. Look, Jalen Crutcher, best point guard Dayton of all time. I have no arguments here. But the teasing thing is a little tacky. Don't do that. Got a big announcement to make and get the fans all excited like you're about to announce you're coming back and then use that to announce that you're going to the NBA. I hope he gets to the NBA. I don't think he's going to be – I think, he's going to sign with the team. I think the G League route is where he's going to end up going. I think he has a good chance to get there. His handles are smooth. He has a great shot, could feel the game. I think he'll be fine. But – just the attention thing of, got a big announcement coming up. Going to put this post on Snapchat out there, get everyone all fired up. He's coming back. And then you get everyone hooked, and then you just let them know, yeah, I'm bouncing. I'm out. I hired an agent. I'm going to the NBA.
Better that than transferring to a different school like Syracuse players did.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But again, and I'm not being critical to be critical, but it's like I thought, he put out that Snapchat and has, UD has their floor in the background, and it's a big announcement coming up. Why do you do that? Like last year, I get it's a different time. I was never good enough to ever be in a position to tease people about where I'm going to go sign to play college. So it's not jealousy. It's just I can't relate. I can't relate to the mindset of I have to get so much attention on my decision that I have to drag it out to make sure people follow along for the journey, which is funny because I work in an attention-seeking business. So I'm being a hypocrite. But like last year, we knew he wasn't good enough to get to the NBA last year. And I don't like when kids say, I'm declaring for the NBA draft. You're not declaring for the NBA draft. You were going to go get a grade to see kind of what you need to work on. Obi Toppin, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to him, Kev. He went, they told him he needs to work on his three, a couple other things about his game he needed to work on, and he was an All-American Player of the Year the very next year, took advantage of that. Crutcher goes to that same thing last year, and then he just leaves everyone hanging. Months went by before you found out. He knew he wasn't going to the NBA last year. He didn't sign an agent, but he waited till a little before the season to do this like LeBron James taking out a whole page in the newspaper. He really didn't, but close enough on social media. I'm back. I'm coming back. You weren't going anywhere. No one was worried about you going anywhere last year, unless you were going to opt out because of COVID, which would have been respectable and understandable. You weren't going anywhere. No one thought that you were actually going to get drafted to the NBA. They know you're really, really good. You had coming off a great season with Obi Toppin that year, but then you come back, very good year with the Flyers, of course, as the team. The team kind of underperformed this past season, but he averaged 17.5 points a game, averaged just under 5 assists a game, shot 46%, 37% from behind the three-point line, 76 at the free throw. The kid's fantastic. It's good. But stop doing the attention-seeking thing where you tease your fans. You made fans think you were coming back. You got the fans all excited. There've been so many departures. You had so many. Rodney Chapman transferred out. Dwayne Cohill transferred out. Luke Frazier's gone. 2 assistant coaches have bolted and left. Anthony Sullivan, although it hasn't been exactly confirmed from the school yet, reports coming out all over that he's going to go back to Mike Bray in Notre Dame and be an associate head coach over there. So, there's a lot of departures, a lot of people upset, and you're going to tease them and put the court in the background and say, big news coming up with a bunch of basketball emojis. And then you bounce. I'm sorry. I just, that irritated me. I thought, I was like, man, he's going to come back. That's huge because there were so many departures from the program. I thought it would have been a great opportunity for him to come back, have a great season, the great incoming freshman class, kind of go out on a better note than what he did this past season, not from an individual standpoint, but from a team standpoint. That's all. I just thought it was strange. I'm not mad that he's going to the NBA. I'm just mad in how he did it. Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to tease that you're coming back, put the court in the background, big announcement coming up, basketball emoji, and then you get everyone all excited? I'm seeing everyone on Twitter. Wow, he's going to come back. Man, he put the court in the background. He's coming back. You're not going to put Dayton's court in the background and then announce that you're transferring to Memphis, which everyone thought there was a good chance that he could have done. And nope, just, big announcement is I'm out of here, which we all figured was going to happen, but he did have that extra year of eligibility left. But Jalen Crutcher, best flyer of all time, did not play in the NCAA tournament.
Wow. You just had to do that. You just had
That's not a shot. No, that's the reality of it.
Do that.
No, time out. I say a lot of mean, stupid things. That was not one of them. I said he's the best.
Rona killed it.
But he didn't play in the NCAA tournament.
No.
Obi Toppin did not play in the NCAA tournament. Anthony Grant has not coached an NCAA tournament game at Dayton.
Rona killed that season, man.
But, okay, what does that mean?
Rona killed it, man. You can't hold that against them, man.
Did he play in the NCAA tournament?
The Rona.
No, but, that's the thing. He did not.
The Rona wasn't
I'm not holding it against him. I'm just saying it's the reality of it.
You unfortunately didn't play in there because of the Rona. Can't throw that caveat in there.
Hey, rewind. And he unfortunately couldn't play in the NCAA tournament. He'll go down as the best flyer ever to not play in the NCAA tournament.
There you go.
Technically, I lied. Obi Toppin's the best player to not play in the NCAA tournament. Second best flyer to not play in the NCAA tournament.
So how would you prefer him make that announcement that he's going pro?
The announcement that he made was totally fine in the graphic. He put, I love the graphic. Love you, Flyer Nation. All that stuff.
Tease.
It was the tease that ticked me off because he had me. He got me.
Gotcha.
And that's the thing. And I'm wearing my Wright State shirt, so of course I'm coming across even more as a hater today. But I was excited, Kev, when I thought he was coming back. I'm like, oh, that's huge. That is good because today, the second assistant coach has already departed the program. It's Solomon, by the way, very good. I'm bummed to see him go. That was a good piece that is leaving. I hate to see him go. He's going back to Notre Dame with Bray. But 3 players have transferred out. It's a very young roster next year. It doesn't look like they're going to be a tournament team next year, but you add Jalen Crutcher with that. So anyways, when he put out that Snapchat with UD's court in the background, big announcement coming up, what do you think? Kev, come on. Even you have to admit, you don't have to be annoyed about it like I am, but what does that look like to you? If he puts up a Snapchat of UD's floor in the background with the big announcement coming with the basketballs underneath, that's not insinuating that you're leaving. Why do you need the pre-announcement? Why do you need that? I mean, again, I am 31 years old. I am the get off my lawn guy. It's official now, but I'm so tired of the look at me stuff all the time. I saw someone are we going to get to a point when you get fourth graders or they're going to go to a private school and announce that I've made my decision as a fourth grader. I'm going to go to blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't get it.
Go to St. Benedictine prep.
Peace be with you.
It's just how it is nowadays. You know me, I don't get worked up about a ton, especially about what these young adults do. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. Would I prefer, him just to be release the statement or just release the video, say, hey, I'm going pro peace. Yeah, obviously. And when I have kids one day and I'm going to teach my nephew that, the humble route is the best route to go. Do you need to be doing the extra stuff? Of course, that's what I'm going to try to instill. But at the end of the day, these young adults, they are just that, young adults, and they're making the decisions best way they know how because they see their famous counterparts in the pros doing the exact same thing. and they emulate those guys, like it or not. It goes back to even like with LeBron taking my talents to South Beach. I don't know how many times I've heard a kid on National Signing Day say, I'm taking my talents to blah, blah, blah university for the next 3 to 4 years. They don't even say 4 to 5 years. They say 3 to 4 because
I'll let you know my next school next year.
Yeah, I'm bouncing as soon as I can to go to the pros and everything like that. So would I prefer it the other way? Absolutely. Do I understand like, hey man, we in a new age and a new type of athlete? Yes. Jalen Crutcher, good luck to you, brother. Hope you ball out. Hope you make it. Hope all your dreams come true for you, man, and give back to the community that gave so much to you.
What he said. What? You said they couldn't have said any better. I couldn't have said any better than that. And you sound a lot more genuine than I do. So there's no point. No one takes anything I say serious, even when I compliment.
Oh, they take it very serious.
I wasn't even saying anything mean about Jalen a little bit ago, and you took it as if it was a slight. So I'm like, well, hell, I'm in the trap.
You mean to tell me nobody's in the comments yet saying what you said about never played in a tournament game?
That's a fact, though. He did not.
Rona.
Okay, Rona's why he did not play in an NCAA tournament game, but he did not play in an NCAA. Like, I don't like this now. See, people are going to take this as I'm throwing shade.
I'm messing with
and
you.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm throwing facts. Throwing facts. Just saying. There's a player at Wright State named Jalen Hall that just transferred out a little bit ago, but Jalen Hall played in an NCAA tournament game before Jalen Crutcher did.
Go Raiders.
Just say it. And then he transferred out.
And
Wright State got blown out by like 150 against Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Look, they're going to be for the top 15 recruiting class coming in. I just thought that, man, that'd be cool. I really did. I thought he was coming back with that little tease that he did on Snapchat. That's all. So I'm just mad because I fell for it. That's all.
Gotcha. Hook, line, and sinker.
There you go. For another flyer gone. The difference is I don't think it's a big deal because I don't think anyone expected him to come back, which is why the tease irritated me because no one expected you to come back. Then you got everyone's hopes up just to say, oh, yeah, I'm gone. I'm out. Going to the NBA. But he is hiring an agent. I think he's one of the, in all seriousness, he is built and has the skill to make it in the NBA. I do think, I'm not going to guarantee it, whatever. By the way, how's my prediction about Obi's season going? That's not throwing shade.
Going to the playoffs.
But you and Sully and everybody.
Going to the playoffs.
You and Sully and everybody got mad at me. When the season started, we did, okay, what's Obi Toppin's stat line going to be? I said, he's going to average about 6 to 8 points a game.
The bigger impact is nobody saw Julius Randle saying, hey, you know what? I'm about to try to play like the best player on the planet, and I'm about to just do my thing. Nobody saw that coming. Julius Randle took his minutes. Julius Randle said, hey, man, I'm going to be a player in this league. I don't just want to be a guy. I want to be a dog in this league. Thanks a lot, Julius Randle, trying to live up to your potential and everything like that. We wanted to see Obi, but no, you had other plans. You wanted to, be somebody in this league.
It's the NBA. They average about 180,000 points per game.
And Julius Randle was averaging about 30 of them for the Knicks.
Yep. And that means
getting 45 of the 48 minutes a game.
That means there's 80 other points to account for that if Obi was capable of doing and keeping on pace with everyone, he'd get that. Now, Obi's super efficient when he is out on the floor. This isn't, I'm beating up on Obi. I just like to say when I'm right, I want to be acknowledged for being right. I said he'd average, I said he would average 100 single digits a game. You said you were the mean one. If you don't average double digits, you are a bust.
Yes.
That was your words, not mine.
Yes.
And I said a good stat line for Obi in his rookie season would be about 7 to 9 points a game, couple rebounds, couple of assists. And you and Sully both just destroyed me for saying that. And actually, I was not right. I'm wrong. He's averaging 4 points a game as far as that goes, averaging just over 2 rebounds a game and under an assist a game. But to be fair, averaging 11 minutes a game, that's not going to get it done.
No.
That's not all on him. He is very efficient, though, when he is out on the floor. So I'm not beating up on him. I'm just saying his season it's so cool, though. Like, it never gets old tuning into a Knicks highlights or something and seeing Obi, with the highlight dunk. When he's on the floor, he's in the highlights almost every night. He's always making a big shot or two throughout the time he's on the floor. He's just not getting a lot of minutes. But you drafted him, so the Knicks either need to move on from him, because if this is the new Julius Randle, the Knicks have to keep Julius Randle.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, I don't care if you drafted Obi top 10. If you can't find a way to play Obi and him at the same time or play Obi more, Obi's not a part of the long-term plans, then get him out of there and get him somewhere where he can go and develop it, whatever. But the Knicks, one of the top teams in the NBA, one of the hottest teams right now.
Crazy.
Got to give him credit.
Yeah.
And by the way, Obi Toppin having a fine season for 11 minutes a game. I'm not saying he's having a bad season. I never expected him to be Rookie of the Year, though. But everyone says I'm a hater when I said he wasn't going to win Rookie of the Year. But no, it's because my concern was is like he has to be set up. But that three of his, though, has taken off, though. Like, he's a really good three-point shooter.
The thing about it is, it's two things. I joke about Julius Randle and, him trying to become a player in this league. It's a lot of truth to that. Julius Randle has upped his game to levels that I didn't think he could be doing. So that's one. Two, Obi's not getting enough minutes. Now, I say enough minutes in the realm of he's not getting enough minutes to produce, like, stat-wise and everything like that. But that's Coach Tibbs. Coach Tibbs is the guy that basically ran Derrick Rose into the ground the year that he won the MVP and everything like that. Like, they would be up 20 and he would have Derrick Rose still in the game and everything like that. And then Derrick Rose blew out his knee and everything just happened with Derrick Rose and everything unraveled. But that also, you got to think about, like, when Jimmy Butler was a rookie, go look at Jimmy Butler's rookie stats. Go look at his 2 years and with the Bulls, his first 2 years, nothing, no burn at all. And then that third year, he just took off. So you obviously, as a fan of Obi, you don't want to be waiting around to year 3 to wait for him to take off and be a player on the team. But like, those are real reasons. Those aren't excuses. Those are reasons. Like, Coach Tibbs really doesn't play rookies. Coach Tibbs plays his starters a ton of minutes. Julius Randle is balling out of his mind. So if we actually took a step back, myself included, and thought about it from that point of view, we would have all came back with probably this stat line about 4 points and a couple rebounds a game. But, we fell in love. We wanted to see Obi succeed, and I'll be the first one to say, like, hey, I was wrong. Like, but
but you were just wrong. You were predicting like 18 points a game.
No, I wasn't 18. I was like
13
doubles.
or 14.
I was like, man, he's gonna be close to a double. 14, it's like he's gonna be like I was thinking like, all right, man, he's gonna get like 10 to 12 points a game, like 7.
So if you give him 20 minutes, he averages 8 points a game.
Yeah. I mean, that's
still a bust. That's according to I play by your standards. Now, my only problem with the narrative of Coach Tibbs doesn't play rookies. Coach Tibbs, he plays his starters a lot. Emmanuel Quickley is averaging about 20 minutes a game
out here.
And Emmanuel Quickley averaging about almost 12 points a game. Quickley is their best draft pick so far, just based on the productivity. Absolutely. Quickley playing behind RJ Barrett and, actually lost minutes once Derrick Rose came in, even though they don't play the same position, but that's just because they have versatile guards and stuff like that. I really like the Knicks. They ain't winning the championship. Obi isn't bad. I just don't think that Obi is it is what it is. I just said he wasn't going to average double digits. It was just projecting what I thought of how he was going to be utilized in the NBA. He had Jalen Crutcher that literally every time. That's the other problem too for Obi. The difference between college and this. College, he was the guy.
Right.
Every time they're down the floor, drawing up a play for Obi, get the ball to Obi, lob the ball to Obi. Obi's wide open somehow every time down the floor. No, because he wasn't cherry picking. It's because, by the way, cherry picking, if you cherry pick and you're wide open every single time, you shouldn't apologize for that. That's on the stupid defense for not sending someone back. I've never understood that criticism of Obi. Iowa fans were doing that a lot. All he does is cherry pick. Then get your ass back. Get your ass back and catch up with him. Like, I hated that.
It's a total difference between cherry picking. You cherry pick in, pickup games. When you close out,
that's how I play. I ain't running back on defense.
When you close out on a 3-point shooter like Obi was doing when he was at UD, keep going. If he missed, keep going. Let your big man get the rebound, kick it to your point guard, Jalen Crutcher, and then he swings it to you for the dunk. That's called basketball. That's called fast breaks. It's like, that's what you're supposed to do. And if your big man is not closing out on the 3-point shooter, we got real problems.
And by the way, that was by design as well.
Yes.
Obi, because keep in mind,
it's in the playbook.
That shot goes up and the opposing team goes up. Yes, you want Obi to rebound. And that last season that they only lost 2 games and we're going to be the number 3 or one of the number 1 seeds, number 3 in the country. The game plan too, when that opposing team shoots it, that ball goes up. Obi, if you don't in a good angle to get that rebound, get back, because let's say Jalen comes down with that rebound or whoever, he gets the ball, couple dribbles. You either throw it up to Obi, who's wide open, or the defense is panicking, sprinting back to find him, that they leave shooters wide open in transition. And then that's how the Flyers were able to score so easy in transition as well. Obi, everything gravitated around him. With the Knicks, I see people on Twitter all the time saying that they're not even looking at him. They're not even looking at him. They're not looking at him. That's the thing. Like, that was my whole analysis of Obi heading into the NBA was, Obi was as great as he was because he was the center point. He was the centerpiece, not the center. He didn't play center, but he was the central piece of that offense, of that entire team. All eyes were on him. All the fans' eyes were on him. All the defensive eyes were on him. All his teammates' eyes were on him. He's not getting all those eyes in New York. But what I do like is he's always smiling coming off the floor. He's not down on himself. You know what? He's proud. He's playing the role that he's been given. And by the way, 11 minutes a game in the NBA is really freaking good. Like, that's prime real estate.
How many minutes did you? Oh,
none. Oh yeah, we're just a bunch of talking heads on the radio, gas bags, whatever other word that they call radio hosts, right? But no, in all honesty, to keep it fair here, so I don't get called a hater, 11 minutes a game in the NBA is a lot. That is a lot. This isn't like, oh, we'll just give them a couple minutes at the. No, I mean, sure, you want more, but no, I mean, it's cool. We're gonna get to see Obi in the playoffs, though. And how cool is it to see him being mentored by Derrick Rose? I love Derrick Rose, by the way. I saw a highlight the other day. It was, I guess it's 12 years since he won.
Yeah.
12 years.
Crazy.
And he's still in the league, and he's not that Derrick Rose, but my favorite players in the league, and you won't be surprised by this, I didn't like Derrick Rose back in the day because, you know, he was talking smack about LeBron and the Heat, baby. Get out of my way. I love players like Derrick Rose and now Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul and others now who I was not always big fans of throughout, that are, as Father Time takes over for them, that they are so good that they are willing to accept new roles and adapt with the game. Carmelo is still putting up very good numbers, not Carmelo of old numbers, but he's still very effective within that Portland offense. Chris Paul should be the MVP this year, don't care what anybody says. And then Derrick Rose taking on that mentor role, but also being a very good player for the Knicks that's helping lead them to the playoffs right now. So I love everything about what's going on there. Derrick Rose, you know, in his time with the Knicks, averaging 14 and a half a game in 26 minutes. Derrick Rose is still really, really good. But watching the highlights of him the other day, I forgot how good the dude was.
That dunk he had on Steve Nash, the two-hand one.
No, man. There was another one where he just
the reverse
back twice. Good for him.
D Rose, baby.
All right. So I don't think I was too much of a hater there, but I'm sure I said something people didn't like. But hey, that's what you do in 3 hours. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a high around 70. Tonight's going to be cloudy, also with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a low near 46. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, a high near 60. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough, and the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gotta finish this today.
Cristiano's construction projects typically run smoothly, but this project's pipeline is about to burst.
So, boss, where you want us to put this? To the left. Your other left. John.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Happy Mother's Day for the Flower Man. This year for Mom, we have beautiful, cutable arrangements at $9.99 and a dozen roses for only $9.99. Amazing. Thank you, Flower Man, and thank you, Mom. Roses, arrangements, and flowers from all over the world for Mom. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
It's a great time to update your appliances and get 11% off everything at Menards. Spruce up your kitchen or laundry room with appliances from top brands including Whirlpool, Amana, KitchenAid, Maytag, and Criteria. Check out the largest in-stock selection to take home today at the lowest prices. Upgrade to new energy-efficient appliances and save big money with 11% off everything. Offer good through May 8th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, Pete Kasuji here to tell you it's time to start thinking green. Get out those shovels and rakes and take advantage of every sunny day this month so you don't have to play catch up next month. Get started on that landscape project you've been thinking about all winter. Plant a tree or a hedge, a flowering shrub, or maybe a few evergreens and ornamental grass around the porch or deck. It's also time to sow our famous green mat grass seed for a lush green lawn this summer. Sow that grass seed now and you'll be mowing by the middle of May. We've got everything you need for a great-looking yard or patio at our 6-acre garden center at 1309 Brant Pike. Come out and see why they call them greenhouses.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course, we can help you find some fuel treatment. Right now, we have buy one, get one free on STP Super Concentrated Fuel Injector Cleaner. Plus, AutoZone Rewards members get a $1 bonus reward. Not a member? Don't worry. Joining is easy. And you can even earn an extra $5 bonus reward when you join with a valid email. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions apply. See terms at AutoZone.com/rewards.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Nya nya nya. Ba. Ba. Babue. Zimbabwe. The broken Bunsen burner burns so bright. Southeast Asian Peninsula.
Hey, Jamie. Yes. I think the only line we need from you today is drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Cool. I just got to finish my warm-ups. Foul, throw in the towel. History.
Switch to Progressive today.
Santa ski slalom in a salmon skin suit.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year. Automatically. Dollar for dollar. With no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash. Come on. How amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
How about this for an article that I can't believe I'm reading in 2021? Or how about this for a headline, I should say? This came out from Bob Herrig of ESPN, an ESPN senior writer. Came out on May 1st. It's 2021. and there's so much racial divide out there. There's so many things out there that I'm just like, I don't understand how what I'm about to read is actually a thing. It's not really race related. It's just the point that there's so much divide out there. And there's so much, we're trying to better ourselves as a country for, inclusion and coming together as one. And then I read headlines like this, Kev, and I'm just like, wait, what? Like, this is 2021. So Pine Valley, a top-ranked golf course, is in the news and getting praise because they're now allowing women to become members. They're allowing women.
The good old allowing thing, huh?
Yeah, they're allowing women because they want to expand their memberships and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what? That still exists? Like, there's men's only golf courses, and where can I find one? No, I'm just joking. But top-ranked Pine Valley Golf Course to allow women members, and it's like a big deal. Like, everyone's like excited about this. I'm like, why is this a thing? Why? So, I mean, I'm expecting at this article at any point to say yes, and now we will move on to allowing women to vote. Like, I'm like, what in the world is going? Like, this is the thing. Like, these guys are excited. The future of golf must move forward, and it says goes on to say the future of golf must move toward inclusion. What is 2021? Like, yes, and by the way, I don't disagree with that statement. There's still a lot of work to be done in this country for obvious reasons. If you haven't been paying attention over the last year and a half, it's beyond that, but a year and a half is when everything really kind of came to. Really? Like, it's 2021, and I'm reading a headline that says top-ranked Pine Valley Golf Course to allow women members, and like the owner, like and the guys that are talking here, like they're proud, like we're so proud that it's 2021 and we're finally allowing women to come here, as if like it's so strange to me. I mean, and I'm not trying to come across insensitive. I'm laughing at this not because I'm mocking the fact that they're allowing women to come here. I'm mocking the fact that I didn't know that I really had no idea that you could still have a place that says, yeah, no women. You only men can come here to golf. No women,
just dudes.
Yeah, like I just don't.
It's a very strange situation. And I was talking about this, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, about like when companies were out there releasing statements left and right. And my whole question was, hey man, a statement is one thing, action is another thing. And a lot of these companies that release statements, that was it. That was the only thing that they did, was release statements about, social injustice and saying they don't want to be a part of a country that thinks that way. But what are you doing to make sure you're not a part of a country like that? What are you doing to make sure that you're taking initiatives to empower people and everything like that? So statements are one thing, actions are another thing. So I commend them for taking action, even though it's 2021. But, actions speak louder than statements that you release on Twitter.
I just find this stupid. I find not that they're allowing women, that they weren't allowing. Yeah, I got to be careful. I find it stupid that it took till now before they finally changed this. So, it goes on to say, this is what's funny about this. It says both the Golf Magazine and Golf Digest websites reported that an email from club president Jim Davis was sent to members on Friday evening after an annual meeting of trustees and members, saying that the club had made a historic change. And change is always good. And by the way, me saying that I'm not impressed, I'm only hurting the process in these conversations by saying I'm not impressed. But, for years, the club did not permit women on the grounds. No women on the ground, and then later had time for women players available only on Sundays. So it's not like it wasn't like no women at all ever. It's like, oh no, there's a little window of time that we can fit you poor little women in here. What, so what's dumber? No women at all, or still allowing women but for a short window of time, and having it be 2021 before they decide to lift this ridiculous restriction. It goes on to say in the email from Jim Davis, which was the club president, says the future of golf must move toward inclusion, which I don't disagree with, but I'm just mocking the fact that, again, that this is even happening in the first place, that they were even keeping women from even going there. It goes on to say, and I am pleased as punch to report that the trustees and members of the Pine Valley Golf Club voted unanimously and with enthusiasm and with, I love this, we're excited to and I know they're probably excited, I don't know, he voted unanimously and with enthusiasm to remove all gender-specific language from our bylaws.
My question is, so this just was an email that, the people that run Pine Valley to their members, right? Mm-hmm. So this wasn't like a statement that they released on Twitter or their social media team or their lawyers or something.
Yeah, this is to the members.
Okay. So you know what? I respect that. They're not, putting out to the public to say, hey, look at us. They contacted their members, and, Golf Digest happened to get this and report it to everybody. So I can respect it, even though it's 2021. It's weird. It sounds weird that they have to do that, but I can respect it. I can respect the fact that, something didn't have to happen at their course, like a big uproar about, maybe some female golfers wanting to play at their course and then them having to change it later. So I can respect the fact that, they weren't, publicizing the fact that they are now inclusive to women as well. I can respect that they're just telling their members, hey, this is what we voted on. This is what it's going to be going forward. See ya at the links on Sunday. I can respect it, but it's still weird because
here's why
21.
I see what you're saying, but here's why I don't. Because I would have respected it more had they put a press release out saying that we believe that we were behind in the times with these bylaws, keeping women and not allowing women to golf here. But because they only sent it to their members, they didn't release a press release. They didn't send it to the media. They wanted to keep this as tight as possible. And again, with this being said, it's like, to their credit, if there's any credit to be given, is they didn't wait for all hell to break loose and have this big media storm put pressure on them. Because when you put media pressure on most companies, they usually come out with some kind of little dumb PR statements, saying that, we're all about inclusiveness, blah, blah, blah. The club that doesn't allow women, we're all about inclusiveness. So they made this change. They were trying to avoid a disaster is what it sounds like. It's like, hey, let's go ahead and change this now before it becomes a big thing. So I guess that's the mindset. But the reason that I don't think they wanted the media to find out. I think they knew it was going to pop out eventually, but I think they wanted to not bring as much attention to it as what needed to be there. I think they wanted their members to know, hey, guys, listen, you could bring your wife now. Now, you can't let your local newspaper or radio station know because that big jerk Justin Kinner is probably going to find out and rip us for it. So if you could just bring your women quietly. That's basically, they were trying to whisper it. They did not want people to know. It's like they want to include women, but they didn't want people to know that they weren't including women. So it's like, how do you make a change for everybody to know without bringing attention to yourself that you're a bunch of morons that had this very strange bylaw that, hey, no women allowed. No women allowed. I mean, hell, even the Titanic allowed women and children first, and this golf course right here had no women in 2021.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. And this place is New Jersey, and you got to think about it. If you're in New Jersey, that means you probably got a lot of members that work like on Wall Street in New York and everything like that. You know how many women work on Wall Street and make a ton of money? You know how much money you was losing after 108 years? So let's just say the last 50 years, you've been losing millions and millions of dollars because this is a membership. You have to pay your dues and all that type of stuff to be a member at this golf course. I mean, millions of dollars you lost by being, sexist pigs, saying women can't be here. Like millions. You cost yourself a lot of money, man. And we all know golf courses run on money. And they're finally letting women after 108 years. 108 years.
Well, I mean, how many golf courses in this area used to be country clubs and now let the common folk just run free on their really nice golf? I mean, there are some kick-ass golf courses around here that used to be country clubs, but there wasn't enough uppity people to keep those places afloat. So now it's like, well,
come on.
I guess we got to let the common folk in here. We gotta let and so we got.
Fun fact: I used to work at a country club when I was in high school.
Did you?
Yes,
I think
sir.
You told me that.
Yeah. Never learned how to golf though.
But no, so like I get you're right. There's a business decision. It's like, okay, how do we expand our customer base? It's like, well, maybe we should allow women. Here's a crazy concept, maybe we should allow women. But yeah, it's just like the country clubs. They couldn't, they had to open it up to the public so they can get more, they can increase their, their audience. Now they're, of course, renovating a lot of golf courses so you can have your weddings and bar mitzvahs there and everything else. So there you go. But amazing.
Catch me at Top Golf, man.
Yeah. Kids, women, men, everyone's allowed to go there. But my favorite line is this one. Again, this is that, we are simply continuing down the path of making our club more inclusive. Davis wrote, he goes on to say, we want to be proud of Pine Valley in all respects, and I am convinced that this change puts us on the right side of history. Not quite, buddy.
Maybe,
not quite. A for effort, but,
Maybe in another 108 years from now, you'll be on the right side of history. But for this first 108 years, people looking at you with the side eye.
Anyway, but to be fair, the change was made. The change was made without any kind of public pressure, so you got to give them that. So it is what it is. But I did find that interesting. Like I said, it's 2021, and I'm reading a headline like that. So it is what it is. Okay, Ron Howard.
Hang on, Paul. Hang on.
Ron Howard comes away with a killer here, Kev. He goes, Justin, you should be happy. Now you can play. Zinger. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Today, I'm going to surprise my girlfriend of 5 years with something great for her birthday. A scented candle. I'm talking a good scent, like lavender. Not something lame like pine. I've been building this gift up too, telling her it was going to be something special. She made a joke about me knowing her ring size, and I played it off like she was on the right track. I even mentioned that her parents were fully on board with the one I picked out. She's going to be so surprised to get this candle.
Maybe clueless boyfriends just need a Snickers. Snickers satisfies.
Hey, my name is Jonelle, and a little thing that I love about Chick-fil-A's new Lemon Kale Caesar salad is every tender, warm, juicy piece of grilled chicken. It's a Caesar salad, but it's different. You have the Parmesan breadcrumbs and the mixture of lemon with that romaine and kale. It's almost something I can't explain, but it'll make you want to sing. Lemon Kale Caesar.
Order the new Lemon Kale Caesar salad on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Want to buy your own home but think you can't afford it? What if you got down payment assistance or a discounted interest rate just for being a recent college grad, teacher, nurse, or veteran? The Ohio Housing Finance Agency offers this and more, and our programs are always available for eligible Ohioans, big city, small town, and everywhere in between. Find out if you qualify at myohiohome.org. That's myohiohome.org. Home ownership, ready when you are.
Hey Dayton, this is Dan First, 5th generation at First Florist and Greenhouses. Our garden center is now open for this season and full of beautiful garden plants, vegetables, and more. You'll be amazed at the quality and volume of plants in stock. So stop in and visit us at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton. Call us at 937-223-1213 or visit us online at firstflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, florist.com.
Shop First Florist and Greenhouses, celebrating 116 years in business.
Your home for fun food, sports, and spirits is also the home for value. Frickers Everyday Value begins on Monday with boneless frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. Tuesday offers traditional frickin' chicken wings, 69 cents each. On Wednesday, enjoy a steak dinner for $6.99. And Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks for $6.99. Download the Frickers mobile app to receive loyalty points, free food, and order online. Today and every day, the home for everyday values is the home for fun food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Unlimited audio streaming is yours with Audible Plus. Enjoy thousands of select Audible originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more. Sign up for a free Audible Plus trial at audible.com.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash presented by Kirkland and Sommers and Orion Sports Medicine. If you haven't done so, please head to YouTube and subscribe to the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel, of course, and lots of content on there. Of course, you can go back and watch our previous shows, select show segments, and all interviews that we do, and some of the big segments on there. If you missed the Bengals 30 for 30 that I did, you can go ahead and check that. In fact, you know what? Why not? We got some time. I've been too nice to the Bengals today. Let's go ahead. So the Cincinnati Bengals crushed it with their draft. Not really. The offensive line, still not good. But go ahead and check it out. I've been nice to the Bengals today. I want to end it on a good note. So here's the Cincinnati Bengals 30 for 30.
If the Cincinnati Bengals don't draft an offensive tackle, they should be disbanded and revoked from the NFL. They got to keep this guy upright and healthy. It was irresponsible what they did last year.
What if I told you that the Cincinnati Bengals learned nothing from Joe Burrow's season-ending injury in 2020?
Now Burrow, oh boy, clutching his left leg. Oh no.
With the number 5 pick overall and the best tackle available, the Bengals pick seems pretty obvious.
I don't think that there's even a question. When you have a shot at Penei Sewell, you take him and you keep your quarterback upright so that he doesn't get murdered every single Sunday.
But if Penei Sewell was sitting there, Joe Burrow's season ended because you couldn't protect him, and Joe was playing really well. To me, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. Protect your asset.
What if I told you that the Cincinnati Bengals failed Joe Burrow once again?
The Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase.
Oh, you've got to be f***ing kidding me. What a bunch of...
Hey, easy now. Easy. Voice guy, come on, stick to the script. Just read the script.
My bad. But seriously, what's wrong with them? Fix the O-line, man. Anyways, it's Justin Kinner's latest award-winning 30 for 30. This is why we just can't have nice things. The embarrassing and disappointing tale of the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, and there you go. I just had to air it one more time. Probably a few more times throughout the week, tops. Well, minimum, whatever. But no, nonetheless. So anyways, on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, you can go and check that out. And another conversation on there that was really, I didn't think was that big a deal. The Baker Mayfield against Josh Allen, that conversation. Bills fans lost their mind. They bombarded the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel and just went ham on that. I mean, Kevin's one thing for them to come and defend their quarterback, but to say that, literally you'll find posts on there where they say Josh Allen is a prodigy, that Josh Allen is the best thing in the NFL right now. I said, first of all, if you want to talk about prodigies, we're talking about like Andrew Luck, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence, we're talking about like John Elway, Peyton Manning, guys that were for sure no one was paying attention to who the hell Josh Allen was coming out. He was one of the top quarterbacks that were being evaluated in that draft. But the other thing too, Josh Allen took over a playoff team. The Bills were a playoff team when Josh Allen was drafted by them. Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback that somehow kind of led them there, but he was their quarterback. And the Bills were a playoff team. The playoff Bills traded up, drafted Josh Allen. Josh Allen went to a playoff Bills team. They didn't make the playoffs that year with Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen, better quarterback than Baker. Not by as much as what people are trying to tell me, but better than Baker Mayfield. But you look what Baker Mayfield has done. For the first time in his NFL career, he is heading into an offseason and next season with the same head coach that he played for last year. 4 head coaches in the first 3 seasons of his career, heading into year 4, finally getting some stability, finally playing in the same offense from one year to the next, finally getting to play with the same guys in the same system from one year to the next. Baker Mayfield took over an 0-16 Browns team, led him to 7 wins the next year, took a step back because the Browns were boneheads and allowed Baker to decide who the head coach was going to be in Freddie Kitchens. They got rid of Zeitler to get OBJ. And that was my criticism of the Bengals, is be careful, because you think you want these guys. You think you want the OBJ. You think you want the Jamar Chase. But then when you realize, oh, crap, maybe we should have kept Zeitler and our offensive line intact. Sure, we wouldn't have got OBJ, but at least we would have been better. That's kind of where we're at with that. But Baker Mayfield has had to deal with a million times. Josh Allen plays in a good organization. They have a good coaching staff. They've developed him properly. They've allowed him to, baby steps along the way. Josh Allen should be better than Baker Mayfield. But the ceiling, what is Baker's ceiling in your opinion? And it's okay if it's against me. We've been pretty good today disagreeing. I found new ways. I've been working on my communication skills. I've been working on how do I have debates with people who disagree with me in a mature fashion. Sure, it's a little more boring, but Kevin won't quit the show, so that's all that matters. But the ceiling for Baker Mayfield is what? Because that's what started this conversation on YouTube with all these Bills Mafia fans who, by the way, aren't that intelligent. These are the same fans that light themselves on fire and jump through tables for no damn reason. I don't get it. They said, well, Baker's ceiling is very, very low. And I said, if anything, I think his ceiling is still very, very high. 4 head coaches in 3 years. It's the first time he's playing in the same offense for the same coach in back-to-back seasons. He's still put up great numbers despite everything that he's gone up against, taking over an 0-16 Browns team, playing in one of the toughest, if not the toughest divisions in all of football in the AFC North. To me, I think that we haven't even begun to see what Baker's capable of. I think he has made do with what little resources he has had early on. Things are about to get a lot better for him. I think his ceiling is still pretty high. Josh Allen, I'm not saying his ceiling's low, but Bills fans telling me that Josh Allen's ceiling's through the roof and that Baker has already met his ceiling and that he will not get better. I think you're going to see Baker get a lot better just because stability is finally there for him. Josh Allen's had stability since he got there. Baker has not. So there you go.
I think Baker's ceiling is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But I think Josh Allen can be top 5. I think Josh Allen, his ability not only to pass the ball, which he took a major step this past season, and it was obviously helped from having great playmaker like a Stephon Diggs and, consistency around the offense and everything like that. And him, being in the NFL, maturing as a quarterback, maturing as a person, getting those reps in the NFL. I won't just put it all on the players around him. Individually, he got better, just like Baker got better as a quarterback in the NFL. But I think that, just those tools and that athleticism that Josh Allen has is going to have him a step ahead of Baker always. So not by much, but I can see Baker Ceiling being top 10 quarterback in the league, and I could see Josh Allen's being a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Like the athleticism of Josh Allen is remarkable. He's the second most athletic quarterback in this league. I know people are going to say, what about Mahomes? No. Josh Allen, if this was the 90s, he would be playing defensive end. He would be playing tight end. He's like that type of athlete. We all know that Lamar Jackson's the most athletic quarterback in the league. Lamar Jackson might be the most athletic player in the league for that matter. But, that big, tall, strapping, big arm quarterback, plus he's got wheels. I think that's something that you just can't teach. And that little extra element that he has over Baker is always going to have him like a step ahead.
Yeah, and again, no arguments here. Josh Allen's a very good quarterback, but what I like is we've seen Baker deal with the bad and still come away with very good numbers. Team still wins. Underperformed last year, 2 years ago technically now, don't get me wrong, but Josh Allen, everything's been smooth for him. Got drafted by a playoff team. He had a better offensive line, way better coaching staff. They've actually developed him. What happens when he gets his big paycheck and they got to take talent away. Same thing's for Baker, but Baker's dealt with 4 coaches in 3 years, and he's been able to still fight through that. He put up numbers in spite of having to change his offense every couple of months, basically. Again, top 10, I agree with you. That's his ceiling. He's never going to be better than Aaron Rodgers. Baker will never be better than Patrick Mahomes. Baker's not going to be the number 1 quarterback in the NFL at any point during his career, but you don't have to be to still be a great quarterback in the NFL. That's all. But when I saw those arguments, swarming the comment section, I'm like, hold up, timeout.
We got the Bills Mafia in the building?
The Bills Mafia.
What's up?
So there is that.
Y'all beat us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just getting attacked over here. Pittsburgh Steelers fan checking in.
Yeah, so there you go. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. How about this one? So yesterday, Bengals fans have been coming at me all day, yesterday and today, about the Browns' defensive line. It's no good. Jadeveon Clowney, he's a bum, blah, blah, blah. Pro Football Focus yesterday said that the Bengals had the most improved, or one of the 4 most improved offensive lines. They were number 4. They have the 4th most improved offensive line. And I said yesterday, Pro Football Focus, I don't really care what that says. I think it's always been, I do think they use a lot of analytics, and it's hard to argue with numbers. But as I've said, you can always make numbers sing and dance. And it always seems to be those numbers sing and dance to favor the Bengals from Pro Football Focus, which always cracks me up because it's based out of Cincinnati. 2 years ago, I remember a caller just going off on me saying, Pro Football Focus had the Bengals by the end of the season as one of the top 5 offensive lines. And that's how much they had improved and blah, blah, blah. And I laughed at him. And that same offensive line is what got Joe Burrow killed last year. So when Pro Football Focus says that the Bengals have the 4th most improved offensive line, I laughed at that. Well, because it's so credible, right? Well, today, Pro Football Focus put out the most improved defensive lines. And the Cleveland Browns have the 2nd most improved defensive line. And to show you that I'm consistent, I totally disagree with that. I think that the second that Sheldon Richardson was let go, that Clowney's addition means not that much now, because I thought Clowney with Sheldon Richardson, with Myles Garrett, with the guys they got in the draft, with the linebackers, then I was like, okay, that's a very good defensive line. The Browns do not have a great defensive line. I do not think they improved. You can't lose Sheldon Richardson and convince me that you greatly improved and drastically improved your defensive line. I think they have depth there, if you want to talk about depth. So I'm going to stay consistent. Pro Football Focus, I disagree. I do not think that they are the 2nd most improved defensive lines in football. There's no way. There's no way the Browns have the 2nd most improved defensive line in football. Jadeveon Clowney was a nice addition. It wasn't a great addition. This isn't Jadeveon Clowney, the beast that everyone has projected him to be. He has to prove that he's a beast. He can't only have 4 or 5 sacks for the Browns this year. He needs to have double-digit sacks to be considered Jadeveon Clowney. So I'm not bragging about Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's a good run stopper and everything else. But no, Pro Football Focus, give me a break. The Browns, the 2nd most improved defensive line in football. Sorry, I like the addition to Jadeveon Clowney, but you cut that, and you basically canceled that out with losing Sheldon Richardson. Still a good chance they might bring him back, but they did add another guy today. Browns' 2nd most improved defensive line, in your opinion? Patriots are number 1. They have the Jets at number 3, Lions 4, Bills 5.
Yeah, you said improved. I have to think about it. I would definitely have to think about it. I'm not sure right now. You have to go look to see what pieces. Yeah. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I could argue that the Bengals added a lot. The Bengals, who their number 1 needs offensive line, and they went defensive line crazy in the draft. I don't know how the Bengals don't have a drastically improved defensive line, right? I know you lost, Carl Lawson, but you spent a lot of money on that D line. You spent a lot of draft capital on that defensive line. So how Pro Football Focus doesn't have the Bengals on this list, but the Browns, is beyond me, because I don't think the Browns got better defensive line wise. I just don't. So we're out of time. Reds baseball coming up next. 6:10 the pregame, 6:40 first pitch. Reds, White Sox. Reds have taken 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, 2 or 3 from the Cubs, and now they have a mini 2-game series with the White Sox before they start a home series with Cleveland coming up this weekend. Have a great night. We'll do this again tomorrow following the game 2 of the Reds and White Sox. Take care.